Family Cultivation. I can improve my magic weapon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 576, The Core of the Immortal Palace. At the place where Ling's Eye had previously used the Black Demon Flag, when he sensed the evil spirit still lingering in the air, this person raised his eyebrows. It's the woman from the Phantom Demon Island. Son, Zhuxiantu narrowed his eyes and had no intention of chasing. Just at this moment, there were bursts of fighting sounds in the fog in the distance. With a rumble, a flame rose into the air in the fog, bursting with gorgeous fireworks. A Xingguang cultivator sent a signal for help from the sect and released a firework. As an old senior of a Xingguang, Sun Zhuxiantu did not want to let the disciples in the sect lose too much. At this moment, he saw the signal for help and went to support without any hesitation. The fighting here continued and was extremely lively. Some people were still fighting after leaving the fog area, while others hid and quickly recovered their mana and tried to hide as much as possible. A day later, Liu Zilin absorbed 3 golden rays of power, not only breaking through the peak realm of the Purple Mansion in one fell swoop, but also consolidating her cultivation. At this time, her strength increased by about twice compared to before. With her strength restored, Liu Zilin suggested to hurry up and move forward. Currently, she was still at the 6th cloud bridge. After passing 3 more bridges, she would reach the top of the cloud layer. It can be said that only about 10% of all the participants could reach there. On the 7th cloud bridge, 4 Immortal Palace guards appeared, 2 in silver armor and 2 in gold armor, which made it a little more difficult. There was also a stone platform with a jade sword on it. As Liu Zilin's strength increased, the combat effectiveness of the 3-person team naturally increased. Following the old method, the 3 of them quickly solved the 2 silver-armored guards. As for the 2 gold-armored guards, Chen Qingyun solved them in an instant stick of time. 2 of the 4 golden rays merged into Liu Zilin's body, quickly making her cultivation reach the peak of the Purple Palace stage, reaching the strength that could condense the golden elixir. Now if she were to compete in the strength of her mana, she could already be on par with Chen Xianming and Chen Qingyun. The other 2 golden rays from the silver-armored guards were absorbed by Chen Qingyun and Chen Xianming respectively to restore their mana. After getting the 2nd jade sword and resting for a while, they crossed the 8th cloud bridge and arrived at the 9th cloud bridge, where they encountered the last level of the Immortal Palace guards. There were 5 in total, 3 in gold armor, 2 in silver armor, and the 3rd jade sword also appeared here. In the last Immortal Palace training, only 3 people could reach this step. One was Nangong Yuang, one was Ji Dasheng, and the other was Li Song from Wuan Island. At that time, the 3 people realized that they could not defeat this level alone, so they wisely chose to join forces. But in the end, they still failed to pass this level. The Immortal Palace guards on the cloud bridge, whether 1 or 5, are a whole. Only after they are all eliminated will they reappear the next day. Having come here, the last level must be tried, and the 3rd jade sword must be taken. The 3 of them attacked with their peak strength. Chen Qingyun directly controlled 10 puppets and fought with the 2 golden armored guards. Chen Xianming and the other 2 fought against a silver armored guard each. They gained the upper hand after only fighting for more than 10 rounds. Chen Qingyun attacked quickly this time and finished the battle in less than an instant stick of time. When he looked at the other 2 silver armored guards, he found that they had been eliminated. The golden light merged into the bodies of Chen Xianming and Liu Zilin. Chen Xianming stepped forward and obtained the 3rd jade sword, 1 for each of the 3. All of them had golden light on their bodies. Chen Qingyun absorbed 2 of them. After recovering his mana, the 3 of them continued to climb to the top of the clouds. It was not until they arrived here that the appearance of the Immortal Palace was fully revealed. The entire Immortal Palace exuded a majestic, and inviolable sacredness, which made people stand in awe at first sight and couldn't help wanting to worship. The appearance of the Immortal Palace was not much different from what was expected. It stood there like a heavenly palace, snow white in color,
Spotless. Chen Qingyun and the other two stopped and looked up. It was their first time to set foot here, and they were naturally very happy. Finally, here. Chen Xianming exhaled a breath of turbid air and smiled. Since the opening of the Immortal Palace in the past dynasties, very few people have really reached this step and stepped on the top of the cloud. Because of the limited information they have, the three of them don't know what kind of benefits they will get after reaching this step and entering the Immortal Palace. What kind of opportunities there are there. They all have expectations in their hearts. At the same time, there is also vigilance. There are guards of the Immortal Palace on these cloud bridges, so will there be guards in the Immortal Palace, and will there be more guards and stronger strength? This is the core area of the Immortal Palace. Will there be guards inside? Chen Xianming's eyes were burning, seeing that the door of the Immortal Palace was closed at the moment. He subconsciously asked Chen Qingyun out of vigilance. Chen Qingyun shook his head. I don't know. This is my first time here. The two smiled bitterly and looked at Liu Zilin subconsciously. Perhaps as an elder of Lingbao Mountain, she would know some of the secrets. I don't know either. Liu Zilin also shook her head. I have told you all the information I know. We need to explore what is in this fairy palace. Yes, we really need to explore it ourselves. Even if we ask Nangong Yuang about this question, he is still confused and doesn't understand anything. The three of them went together and carefully looked around, but did not find any fairy palace guards or creatures. It seemed that there were only three of them in this world, and even the shadows of other cultivators could not be seen. Obviously, among the many participants in this event, they were the first to come here. The Immortal Palace was right in front of them. The three of them walked towards the palace door. After groping for a while, they found that the palace door could not be opened temporarily and was firmly blocked by a force. Whether it was touching and pushing with hands or controlling with magic power, the closed palace door could not be moved at all. What's going on? We are outside the Immortal Palace, and we can't get in. Chen Xianming scratched his head, a little anxious. Which step is wrong? In fact, not only Chen Xianming, but also Chen Qingyun and the others were puzzled, thinking why they couldn't get in. They were already at the door. Is there any way, password, or key to open the palace door? Or do we have to wait until a specific time? There is no information provided in this regard, and now we can only grope for it ourselves. In the next 2 days, the three wandered outside the Immortal Palace, and they never found a way to enter. The entire Immortal Mansion was shrouded by a powerful restriction, which could not be broken by the Purple Mansion cultivators. Chen Qingyun tried to break it with the restriction-breaking beads, but it was still useless. He was firmly blocked outside and could not create a ripple on the restriction. Such a result once again confirmed that if you want to enter the Immortal Mansion, you must enter from the palace gate. However, not now. This is a bit interesting. Chapter 577. Goodbye Nangong Yuang. Perhaps, we really have to wait and see. There is another supreme being in this Immortal Mansion who is comparable to a god. We must not provoke him. If we anger him and get kicked out of the Immortal Mansion, it will be a loss. Chen Xianming thought about it and finally came to this conclusion. When Chen Qingyun heard this, he immediately thought of him, the guardian of the Immortal Mansion, and the consciousness born from the origin of the heavenly Tao. The 5 major sects only have a few words about his description. This supreme being is very resistant to cultivators above the Purple Mansion stage to set foot here. But it allows Purple Mansion stage cultivators to come here for training, which seems to be an agreement reached with Xingzong early on. With such a supreme being, it is naturally not allowed to provoke him casually. It is not okay to cause damage here. It is indeed necessary to be more relaxed and be more peaceful. Whether you are curious about the origin of Molin and see if you can get the answer here, or wait for some opportunities in the Immortal Mansion. Since there is still more than a year of training time, just wait patiently. Chen Qingyun suggested and decided to wait patiently for a while. Until the 3rd day. There was a movement on the cloud bridge in the southern area. Chen Qingyun looked carefully and saw 5 figures working together to fight against the guards of the Immortal Palace. Han Rai, Taoist, Han Wu, Qian Taoist, Sun Zongxian, Baiyan. After recognizing the 5 people, Chen Qingyun's eyes condensed, and he stood on the top of the cloud layer and looked down, and then quickly hid his figure. Someone broke into the 8th cloud bridge. Chen Qingyun spoke, reminding Chen Xianmin and Liu Zilin not to show up, so as not to be discovered. Chen Xianmin has a steady personality and has long guessed that now is not the time to show up. It is impossible for him to stand up and tell everyone that they have reached the core of the Immortal Palace. Doing so is no different from a child holding a gold nugget and standing in front of a group of robbers. The core of the Immortal Palace is an opportunity that many cultivators dream of. No matter who arrives first, they will be regarded as a hot commodity, and it is believed that the other party must have obtained some great opportunity in the Immortal Mansion. Since he cannot get into the core area of the Immortal Mansion, it is not impossible to kill people and rob treasures if he can seize resources. That is a result. The principle that a man is innocent but guilty of possessing a treasure is also understood by Liu Zilin. The 3 of them did not watch curiously and hid their bodies in a proper manner. Anyway, it is impossible to use spiritual consciousness here, so there is nothing to be afraid of. Just hide. The sound of fighting continued for a long time, and in the end, the 5 people of Honrai Taoist still did not break through and were trapped in front of the 9th cloud bridge. Among the 5 guards of the Immortal Mansion, 3 of them are golden armor guards. Their combat power has reached the peak of the Purple Mansion period. They can cast spells and repair themselves. If it is not for the killing in one go, it really cannot be solved. The 5-person team of Honrai Taoist can break through the 8th cloud bridge, which is actually good. For example, Zhang Yingxing, Linksai, and the Pang brothers could not even cross the 1st cloud bridge when they joined forces. This was also because Linksai was just filling in the gap and retaining his strength. They would not use their full strength and consume their mana to put themselves in a disadvantageous situation. Chen Qingyun and the other 2 relied on Chen Qingyun's advantage and used puppets to fight and push forward. Chen Xianmin's strength alone was enough to fight against a silver-armored fairy palace guard. He could barely handle the golden armor. The 3 of them waited quietly, talking to each other from time to time. On the 10th day, a figure appeared on the top of the cloud. The 4th person passed through the circular cloud. He was dressed in a flaming robe and exuded a powerful aura. He was Nangang Yuang, known as the first purple palace in the Star Sea. Chen Qingyun was not surprised to see Nangang Yuang here. Instead, it was Nangang Yuang himself who was surprised first. "It's you. How long have you been here?" Nangang Yuang looked at Chen Qingyun and the other 2 with a sharp gaze. He recognized Chen Qingyun and asked immediately, with a strong questioning tone in his voice. 60 years ago, he and Ji Dasheng and Li Zonggal joined forces but failed to pass the 9th cloud bridge and could only return in defeat. After 60 years of preparation, this time, he finally got what he wanted and broke through the barrier with difficulty and set foot here. I thought he was the first person, but he didn't expect that there were 3 people who got there first and had arrived earlier. Chen Xianmin remained calm and didn't mean to answer. It's hard to say whether it's good or bad for one more person to enter the Immortal Mansion. If he wants to get rid of it, is Chen Qingyun sure? Liu Zilin also remained silent, acquiescing that Chen Qingyun was the leader among the 3 and followed closely beside Chen Qingyun. Seeing the reactions of Chen Xianmin and Liu Zilin, Nangang Yuang narrowed his eyes, his expression still indifferent, and he spoke again. "Why don't you answer when I ask you questions?" Chen Qingyun did not retreat, and looked at Nangang Yuang, saying without comment, "Fellow Taoist Nangang, you should think about how to enter the Immortal Palace. This Immortal Palace cannot be entered now, so it is a good opportunity to ask Nangang Yuang to see if the other party has any information. As long as he can see that the other party can enter, at least he can imitate it. As soon as Chen Qingyun finished speaking, Nangang Yuang frowned, and his attention was immediately diverted. Realizing that he could not ask anything, he simply stopped talking. This first purple mansion in Xinghai began to look around the white Immortal Palace. It took only 1 stick of incense to go from expectation at the beginning to doubt at the end, then frowning, and finally becoming silent. After a careful investigation, the results were surprisingly consistent. without any difference. The Immortal Palace treated everyone equally. Now no one could enter, so they all stood outside the door. After finding out such a result, Nangang Yuang's eyes sank, and he returned to his original position and spoke again to break the silence. "You have no way to get in?" He originally wanted to say a word, but his arrogance and pride made him unable to say it out loud. Chen Qingyun looked normal, and asked with a smile, "What do you think?" Nangang Yuang kept silent, and had no intention of answering or paying attention. He sat down alone, and actually closed his eyes to rest in front of him. This action seemed casual, but in fact he was very confident in his own strength, and he was not worried that Chen Qingyun and the other two would suddenly attack. The first purple mansion in Xinghai has its own arrogance and conceit. At the same time, it has been trying to restrain itself and does not want to fight here. The four people now began to wait patiently. Chen Qingyun and the other two were a group. They did not choose to fight at this time. It would be better to save some energy to fight with Nangang Yuang. In Nangang Yuang's view, Chen Qingyun and the others were able to arrive here before him, which means that their strength should not be underestimated. If they really fight, they may both lose, or even get nothing. There are two tigers fighting here, and I don't know how many people will be waiting behind. There is no guarantee that anyone will land here. Wait, if you don't have this little patience, how can you be patient and practice? Fortunately, the next wait did not last long. On the second day of the four people's waiting, the originally closed palace door responded and finally opened. Chapter 578 Mirage. The fairy palace outside the domain. A low rumbling sound was heard, and the heavy door of the Immortal Palace finally opened. A figure walked out of the palace door, immediately attracting the attention of the four people. It was a palace lady who looked to be in her 20s, with a charming smile on her face, inviting them to come in. "Is this a human or a puppet?" Chen Xianmin murmured, and looked at each other with Chen Qingyun and Liu Zilin. The two shook their heads. The divine sense did not work here. The palace lady looked no different from ordinary people, as if she was a real person. What is going on? It's hard to figure it out. The three people looked at Nangang Yuang again, and saw a puzzled expression on his face. Seeing that the four people did not move, the palace lady waved again. Seeing this, Chen Qingyun did not delay, and took Chen Xianmin and Liu Zilin to the palace door. Not far away, Nangang Yuang saw this and was unwilling to fall behind, so he could only follow carefully. Passing through the palace gate, the ladies in palace dress led the way. The scene in the fairy palace was magnificent and luxurious, with 12 golden armored guards holding long halberds standing around. Seeing these guards, the four of them looked nervous, thinking there was another challenge. Fortunately, these golden armored guards did not move, as if they were statues, allowing them to follow the footsteps of the ladies in palace dress. Chen Qingyun observed the surroundings and found that a small banquet was being held here. There were some fruit snacks and precious delicacies on the table, but the seats were empty. Coincidentally, there were exactly 4 seats, not more or less. At the same time, on the high seat in the palace, an old man with a fairy-like appearance was sitting upright at this moment. He looked kind and harmonious, which made people feel close to him. "Who is this person?" Chen Qingyun looked around. I had never heard that there would be anyone in this fairy palace before. Looking at his figure and appearance, he didn't look like any of the participants. Could it be him, the supreme being in the secluded Immortal Palace? Chen Qingyun was curious about the other party's origin. Chen Xianming and the other two were also alert and confused. They were all here for the first time and didn't know what to do next. At this time, the old man on the main seat smiled slightly, showing a smile like a spring breeze, then raised his hand and casually pointed at the 4 people in the air. 4 rays of light like moonlight flew out, and without waiting for the 4 people to react, they hit their eyebrows in the next second. Chen Qingyun originally wanted to hide, but realized that it was useless, so he simply broke the jaw and wanted to see what the other party was going to do. After the light entered his mind, an extremely familiar message emerged. It is the power of the Immortal Palace's rules. This light contains the rules of the Immortal Palace, a total of 3 points. First, They have to attend this banquet and sit down to eat something. Don't look at the various delicacies, spiritual fruits and spiritual wines on the table. It looks like an illusion, not real, but it is actually extraordinary. In short, these things not only taste like the real thing, delicious and filling. Moreover, they can also play their respective roles, improve physical fitness, increase blood and so on. After the banquet, it is the second point, accepting a reward. This reward is a choice between two options. One is the snow spirit fairy dew, which needs no further explanation, the top-notch treasure for forming a pill, which can increase the success rate of forming a pill by 70%. What is the ultimate goal of everyone coming here to practice? It is to get the opportunity of forming a golden pill. Another choice is a place in the Immortal Palace, the Immortal Gate in the Clouds, the secluded Immortal Palace, the Mirage, the Outer Domain Immortal Palace. Chen Qingyun murmured these 16 words. The first 12 words were talking about this secluded Immortal Palace. The last 4 words are another more powerful trial place. There is the Outer Domain Immortal Palace. The Mirage mentioned in this sentence refers to the secluded Immortal Palace. Chen Qingyun once imagined that the secluded Immortal Mansion was a secret place left by a great ancient master, or a fragment of a small world. In addition, it was a trial place built by a top sect. In short, he imagined several possibilities and was curious about its true origin. But he never expected that this secluded immortal mansion, which attracted countless purple mansion cultivators, was just a reflection of the Outer Domain Palace, that is, a mirage. Upon learning this, Chen Qingyun could not help but sigh for a while. This secluded immortal mansion formed by a corner of the Outer Domain Palace contains so many opportunities in this mirage. So as the main owner, what kind of top resources does the larger Outer Domain Palace have? In Chen Qingyun's cognition, this is simply unimaginable. Whether it is the Snow Spirit Fairy Dew or the participation qualification of the Outer Domain Palace, Chen Qingyun prefers the latter. As for the third point, it is an opportunity for enlightenment and deduction. Everyone present can use the Hunyuan ancient tablet to enter the state of enlightenment, deduce the skills they practice, and get the opportunity to check for omissions and answer questions. At the same time, by comprehending the Hunyuan ancient tablet, they can also deduce what kind of life magic weapon is more suitable for themselves, preparing for the advancement of Jinden. The deadline for using the Hunyuan ancient tablet is 5 days. Banquet. Choose one of the two opportunities. Hunyuan ancient tablet. This is the reward in this fairy house. After understanding the rules, Chen Qingyun has begun to get excited. Looking around, he saw that Chen Xianmin and the other two were also happy and had a strong sense of expectation. Seemingly not fond of delaying, the old immortal did not speak, but waved his hand, signaling several people to sit down. Knowing that the banquet was a must-attend link, in order to avoid angering the other party and causing unnecessary trouble, the 4 people saluted the old immortal and began to sit down. After Nangang Yuang sat down, Chen Xianmin took the lead and took the initiative to be on guard, sitting next to Nangang Yuang. The other 2 seats were opposite, where Chen Qingyun and Liu Zilin sat. At the beginning of the banquet, 9 young women appeared out of thin air. One played the piano, one played the guzheng, and the other 7 began to dance and began the performance. The atmosphere on the scene was full of singing and dancing, and the wonderful music was pleasant to the ears. The women danced gracefully, as if they had no bones, showing the softness of women to the fullest. The song was ethereal and distant, with a brisk rhythm, and listening to it was just refreshing. The visual and auditory senses quickly reached an intoxicating height. In such an atmosphere, several people did not hesitate to enjoy the food on the table. The spiritual peach tasted sweet and juicy. The spiritual tea was steaming hot and had an endless aftertaste. Seafood, fish head, green vegetables, etc., these meat and vegetable combinations, and a sip of spiritual wine. The deliciousness is enough to make people linger and can't stop eating. Although they can start fasting after reaching the purple mansion stage, they still retain their appetite. Especially these delicacies impacted their taste buds, and the 4 people quickly integrated into the banquet. Chapter 579 Starry Universe. After eating for a while, Chen Qingyun felt full of mana and his vision was much clearer than before. Some of the tendons that were still in the development stage had opened up a lot, and his hearing became much more sensitive. Clear ears and eyes, vigorous blood and qi, have brought obvious changes. Even Bailing on his wrist smelled the fragrance and started eating. Chen Qingyun noticed the changes in the old immortal, only to see that he was still in a happy mood, just watching quietly. Maids kept bringing wine and spiritual fruits to everyone, so that everyone could enjoy the food. After one song and dance ended, the next one followed. The whole banquet lasted for an hour, and the four people began to eat too much. Chen Qingyun collected some delicacies from time to time and put them into the blessed land beads, so that Mo Ling and Bai Ling could eat as much as they wanted. In this regard, the old immortal ignored it and let Chen Qingyun do whatever he wanted. What you eat here can only be digested here. It is useless to take it out, and it will disappear directly. Foodies have the most advantages here. None of the four people have the potential to be foodies. Finally, the banquet lasted for a day, and the four people finally ate too much. These foods are very strange. Even if they use magic power to urge digestion, they can't digest them. They can only wait and wait for themselves to digest. As the fairies left, the banquet ended. The second link is to choose one of the two opportunities. The old immortal never said a word, and obviously had no intention of talking. If you want to get benefits from him, you can only wait for the other party to take the initiative. The four people waited quietly, but after waiting for a while, the old immortal's eyes fell on Chen Xianming first. I saw the other party waved his hand, and two golden jade storage boxes flew out and slowly landed on the long table where Chen Xianming was, appearing in front of them. This scene made Nengong Yuang's eyes reveal a fiery color, and he watched closely. Chen Qingyun and Liu Zilin also looked at it without moving, and they were very expectant in their hearts. Under Chen Xianming's excited gaze, the golden jade box opened. The one on the left has a jade bottle, which contains a snow-white liquid that looks like water after the 10,000 years of ice melted into water. This is the snow spirit fairy dew, a treasure that many purple mansion cultivators dream of. Although this bottle is only the size of 2 fingers, if you really talk about its value, it is enough to be worth 1.5 million spirit stones, and there is still a little left for the impact of the golden core stage. In the gold and jade box on the right is a fairy palace scroll, which is the key to enter the fairy palace, similar to the fairy palace jade card. Just carry it with you. There are 2 opportunities in front of you. How to choose? Accept them all. This is obviously impossible. If you really do this, you will definitely lose both the wife and the army, and you will be driven out in the end. This level is obviously a matter of having your cake and eating it too, so you can only choose one of the 2. Is it the opportunity to form a pill, or the opportunity to enter the outer fairy palace? A short-term achievement, an achievement for long-term consideration. Chen Xianming made choices again and again, and thought of his family. What the Chen family needs most now is a giant and cultivator. Without hesitation, Chen Xianming took a deep breath and chose the snow spirit dew on the left. After making the choice, the old immortal nodded and took back the golden jade box containing the quota of the immortal palace. Then he followed the same method and asked Nengong Yuang to start choosing. The same 2 boxes, the same placement. Even after falling, the distance between them was exactly the same as when Chen Xianming chose, which shows the precise control of the old immortal's mana. Chen Qingyun secretly paid attention to what the first purple mansion in Xinghai would choose. If he chose the snow spirit dew, once he broke through the giant stage, his previous honors and resounding names would be taken away, and he would no longer be the first of the purple mansion in Xinghai. Some can only be at the bottom among the giant ancestors with the strength of the early giant stage. Whether to be the head of a chicken or the tail of a phoenix depends on how you choose. Nengong Yuang made his choice very quickly, surpassing Chen Xianming, and directly put away the gold jade box on the right and chose the place in the immortal palace. After Nengong Yuang, it was Chen Qingyun and Liu Zilin. With a large number of demon pills given by the family, Chen Qingyun could condense the golden pill without the assistance of the snow spirit fairy dew, so he chose the place in the immortal palace. Finally, it was Liu Zilin's turn to make a choice. She looked at Chen Qingyun,
weighed the pros and cons in her heart, and decided to follow Chen Qingyun's footsteps and chose the place in the Immortal Palace without hesitation. She understood Chen Qingyun's cultivation speed. After finishing this experience, he would probably be able to condense the golden pill soon. In order not to be too far behind Chen Qingyun in cultivation, it should be the snow spirit fairy do. But don't forget that she is a wood-attributed spiritual root, and does not need the assistance of external objects such as the snow spirit fairy do. She can condense the golden pill by herself. In the future, when condensing the nascent soul, some natural materials and treasures may be needed. After successfully completing this training trip, Liu Zilin is confident that she can form a pill within 5 years and keep up with Chen Qingyun. The selection phase is over, and the last opportunity begins. The old immortal made a hand gesture, and the originally dense wall on the right side of him was surging with light, as if the ancient immortals and demons opened their eyes, revealing an entrance. Chen Qingyun looked closely and saw colorful light flowing in the entrance, which looked extremely ethereal and dreamy. There were waves of Tao rhyme and law flowing from it, which seemed to be like the gate of heaven opening and about to ascend to heaven. The old immortal looked at Chen Qingyun first, waved his hand, and motioned him to go in. If the other party was cheating and had the intention to murder, they would have done it long ago. There was no need to do anything unnecessary. Chen Qingyun immediately stood up and walked towards the entrance. Under the gaze of the three people, Chen Qingyun disappeared after entering the entrance. This was a vast and peaceful scene. Chen Qingyun found himself on a huge lake, and the lake surface was extremely calm. More than 10 meters away, there was a black stone tablet standing, which was very eye-catching on the lake's surface. The whole stone tablet was simple and old, full of the vicissitudes of time, and the thick atmosphere of history was overwhelming. This is the ancient monument of the prehistoric times. According to the rules and regulations read earlier, Chen Qingyun felt that his state of mind began to change, becoming as peaceful as the lake under his feet. This was the effect of looking at the stone tablet. Here, the divine consciousness can work. Chen Qingyun approached, released his divine consciousness, and touched the ancient monument of the prehistoric times. Suddenly, the whole person's consciousness was sucked into it. The scene in front of him changed and appeared in a deep space of a galaxy. There are large and small spots of light around, and if you look closely, they are bright stars. The place where we are now is like being in the galaxy of the universe, vast and boundless. If you magnify any star, it is already a small world. Those boundless galaxies are composed of several or even hundreds of worlds, full of vitality and extremely mysterious. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 580, Sudden Enlightenment and Deduction of Skills. In the previous life, I yearned for the universe and the starry sky, and I only saw some descriptions in books, movies and TV dramas. In this life, I am in this starry sky at this moment, which makes Chen Qingyun excited and can't help but feel very emotional. The universe is really a masterpiece of nature and a place full of spiritual beauty. The shocking feeling in my heart can no longer be described in words. I just feel that this place is so beautiful and shocking. Being here, I am just a speck of dust, so small that it is insignificant. Chen Qingyun relaxed his mind, and the first feeling was that his mind could quickly enter a state of emptiness and tranquility, without any mundane thoughts, 7 emotions and 6 desires. At this moment, it seemed as if he had become a person who was seeking the Tao with all his heart, and he was integrated with the surrounding world. What a magical feeling! It is rumored that only nascent soul cultivators can always be in harmony with the laws of heaven and earth, always in the state of unity of man and nature, and become the darlings of heaven and earth. So, they can more intuitively perceive the laws of immortality, step by step into the realm of Yuanshan, and achieve the supreme fruit of Tao. I am still in the purple mansion stage, and when I come here, I can actually have this kind of enlightenment-like feeling. It is really rare. This is a stone tablet that can contain such a universe and galaxy world.
I don't know which predecessor this ancient tablet came from. Chen Qingyun first released his spiritual sense and explored the Zhuxian galaxy. He felt that his spiritual sense was expanded to the extreme. All he could feel was the ancient breath brought by the universe. His thoughts became extremely clear and he entered a state of sudden enlightenment where he forgot both the self and the world, which was particularly mysterious. Chen Qingyun once entered the state of sudden enlightenment when he was refining a weapon. That time, he advanced to the third level extreme in one fell swoop and refined the demon-killing crossbow. This is the second time that the state of enlightenment has appeared, and it can last for 5 days. This is a rare opportunity. Chen Qingyun raced against time and immediately sat cross-legged, began to enjoy this deep state of enlightenment, and took the lead in deducing the skills. The first skill to be deduced is the Great Wilderness Devouring Demon skill, which is extremely important and is currently the main skill. After waiting for this experience, Chen Qingyun prepared to practice in seclusion, try to impact a higher realm, and start to condense the golden elixir. 1 day later, the whole set of skills was deduced, and the perception of the skills made great progress, and some details and shortcomings were discovered. Chen Qingyun understood little by little, checked for omissions and filled in the gaps, and more clearly understood how to absorb the demon pill to condense the golden elixir. This process is like a system self-check, marking all the places where there are problems. This deduction method is really amazing. Why didn't I find these problems in this skill before? Chen Qingyun was amazed. For example, when forming the elixir, how to open some acupoints according to the root of the technique. Among them, the opening method of some acupoints recorded in the technique is a bit slow, and there is also the problem of damaging the acupoints. These are small details. Even if they are ignored and not corrected, they will not cause much harm to the Tao body. At most, it will delay the process of forming the elixir and take more time. However, in this deduction, these small problems were discovered one by one. Chen Qingyun can prescribe the right medicine and solve the problem himself. The world is so big, and there are countless techniques. No technique is perfect, they are all invented by cultivators and constantly improved to make them close to perfection. The deduction of the Great Wilderness Swallowing Demon technique is completed. Some problems in the technique are not only for me to pay attention to and improve, but also to sort out an improved version to share with the family later. As a family cultivator, Chen Qingyun has been cultivated by the family since childhood. He has never forgotten to consider the family when doing things. Next, it is the second technique, 5 elements body incarnation. When he began to deduce this technique, under the blessing of the state of enlightenment, Chen Qingyun knew very clearly that he needed to observe the 5 major stars to assist in the deduction. These 5 major stars are gold, wood, water, fire and earth, respectively, corresponding to the 5 attributes of the 5 elements puppet. Let's get started. Chen Qingyun was eager to move, and first locked onto a golden star in the surrounding area, which was condensed from pure metallic substances. Once he observed it, he instantly felt like he was in it. The scenes he saw were all kinds of metallic elements such as Xuanjin, Gangjin, Kunjin, etc. These golden yuan forces are endless, flowing around Chen Qingyun, revealing their own mysteries and magic, allowing Chen Qingyun to see the essence of the golden yuan force. In about 2 hours, Chen Qingyun completed the deduction of the gold element technique, and had a deep understanding of how to create a gold element puppet and perform a more powerful and flexible gold element technique. After the gold element, it is the wood element, water element, fire element, and earth element. Jupiter is a planet with abundant wood element power, rich vitality, and can nourish all things. Mercury is a blue ocean world, where endless water element power circulates and flows endlessly, revealing the mystery of the source of life. Mars is a planet with hot and intense flames covering the sky and forming magma. Countless volcanoes are erupting, and the blazing fire element power is about to dissolve the world. Earth is formed, and the soil all over the ground sometimes forms stars, and sometimes constructs high mountains, plains, and canyon mountains. 5 different forces, which complement and restrain each other, circulate endlessly, and have their own characteristics. Allow Chen Qingyun to complete the deduction of 5 elements outer incarnation and comprehend it to the extreme. Not only are some missing details in the practice, but also small problems are pointed out and filled in one by one. Moreover, Chen Qingyun deduced it to the level of Hunyuan period, constructed a practice vein map in his mind, and even built a detailed framework. This change, although the spirit, physical body, and mana have not yet reached the Jiandan period. However, after such a deduction, it is equivalent to practicing from the beginning of the practice. Then all the way to build the foundation, open up the purple mansion, condense the golden elixir, and then practice in the Hunyuan period. This whole set of practice process has been gone through. For future practice, you only need to follow the steps and proceed according to the experience accumulated now. By then, the purity of the mana contained in this practiced incarnation, whether it is the thickness of the mixture or the purity, will exceed that of the cultivators of the same level. There is no problem in fighting the peak of the Jiandan with the late Jiandan. This result made Chen Qingyun happy. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he deduced the Great Sun Visualization Sutra, Tangsu Refining Spirit Art, Shedding Dragon Elephant Sutra, and Teiko Purple Fire Art. 2 days later, all the techniques that Chen Qingyun had practiced had made up for their shortcomings and added some power. There were only 5 days to use the ancient monument, and there was 1 day left. Chen Qingyun seized the time and began to deduce his life magic weapon. Chapter 581 Puppet Hall. After reaching the Golden Core stage, a cultivator will create his first natal magic weapon to match his spiritual roots, main cultivation method, and personal preferences. For example, a water-attributed cultivator who practices water-based cultivation methods will choose to refine a water-attributed natal magic weapon after condensing the golden core to maximize his own advantages. If he refines a fire-attributed natal magic weapon, it is easy to have attribute conflicts, which is not conducive to exerting peak strength. This is the reason, this is common knowledge, and no cultivator does not understand it. Chen Qingyun has been practicing fire shining gold art since he was a child. This method is actually a practice of gold and fire. Later, he practiced Teiko purple fire art and began to pay more attention to the root of fire power. From this point of view, it is of course more suitable to create a fire-attributed magic weapon. Chen Qingyun certainly understands this principle. At the same time, he has already laid a good foundation for the power of gold, so if he wants to refine a gold-attributed natal magic weapon, it is actually possible. There are thousands of magic weapons in the world, and only the ones that suit you are the best. Relying on the state of enlightenment, Chen Qingyun took out all his magic weapons and surrounded them one by one. From the small Aurora Blade, the Cold Kai Ring, and the Palm Bottle. Then to the larger Tangsu Sword, the 10,000 Swords map, the Wangxiantan Long Ding, and the Qinglian Yangshan platform. Finally, there are the 5 elements puppet, the Luan bird, and the flamingo. The larger Panlong, the Sky Patrol battleship, and so on. There are as many as 60 or 70 magic weapons, all surrounding the body, tightly wrapped, and each exuding a unique aura. Chen Qingyun immersed himself in it, constantly summarizing the experience of using magic weapons, and then combining the refining methods of these magic weapons, the number and characteristics of their ray patterns to deduce. This process lasted for nearly a day, and because he had reached the 3rd level top-grade refiner attainments, he was only 1 step away from the 4th level. At this time, Chen Qingyun, with the help of the East Wind, comprehended a more profound and powerful array pattern, and advanced the theory of refining to the 4th level in one fell swoop. What is the concept? As long as one more 4th level magic weapon is refined, it will be officially a 4th level weapon refiner. This is very simple. In the state of enlightenment, my weapon refining skills have actually advanced. Chen Qingyun was delighted. Let's talk about the natal magic weapon. At present, Chen Qingyun has 2 natal magic weapons. One is the transformation shield, and the other is the suspended soul-slaying sword, which are equipped in the 2 clones of Baoang and Jiuyu respectively. Although the Tangsu sword that Chen Qingyun's original body comes with can be used as a natal magic weapon, it has not been nurtured to this level. The Tangsu sword is still at the level of a quasi-natal magic weapon,
and its power is far less than that of a real natal magic weapon. The attainment of refining has reached the standard, when there are 4th-level materials, plus the assistance of the purple-blue divine flame, according to the strength of the purple mansion period, it is enough to refine the natal magic weapon. Closing his eyes, he integrated all his magic weapons in his mind, and all the array patterns were thoroughly understood. Chen Qingyun began to deduce the natal magic weapon suitable for himself, and gradually had a clue. Time passed unknowingly. When it was the last stick of incense in the 5-day deadline, Chen Qingyun suddenly opened his eyes, and a divine light flashed in his eyes. Finally, he had a great enlightenment. Finally, I deduced it. It seems that there is a will of heaven in the dark. So that's it. I have the heaven-transforming shield, and I don't need to make a defensive magic weapon. The hanging soul-slaying sword can also be used as an offensive magic weapon. The path I took has already laid the foundation. It turns out that it is still related to puppets. Chen Qingyun stretched out his hand, and the 12 puppets, including the sea god, the thunder of heaven, and the flying boat, all gathered and stood in 3 rows. Looking at the 5-element puppets that have been with him since the Qi refining period, constantly strengthening and growing together, Chen Qingyun has an inseparable feeling in his heart. The puppets are cold, but after using them for a long time, they have accompanied him in the fights and battles until now, and have become his most loyal left and right arms. Chen Qingyun has long regarded them as treasures. After some efforts, the deduced natal magic weapon is a kind of treasure that assists the puppets. To describe it, it is similar to a house where puppets can live, replenish energy, and self-repair. The name of the house is a bit inappropriate. There are 12 puppets, and there will be more in the future, so it should be described as a puppet hall. I need to build a fairy hall that can be freely enlarged and reduced, and can store puppets. That is, I can enter it, restore mana, and live in seclusion. Chen Qingyun's thinking is particularly clear, and he has thought about the type of natal magic weapon to be refined in the future. This puppet hall is actually similar to the Blessed Land bead. The biggest function is naturally to store puppets and clones. In this way, you don't have to take out the puppets one by one like taking out the magic tools every time you control them. And there is the most important point. The advantage of storage magic tools is that they can not only be used as storage rings, but also be well equipped for monks. The simplest example. When Chen Qingyun uses the 8 desolations to fight, once the mana is consumed greatly and needs to be replenished. Generally, when such a situation occurs, it is natural to meditate on the spot or take elixirs and spiritual objects to recover. This not only requires recovery time, but also requires a guardian character to guard against being attacked by others. But imagine that there is a puppet hall. You only need to put the 8 desolations into the puppet hall and recover with the effect of the magic weapon itself. Then the efficiency is much higher. This method actually refers to Jizun's Dongshan shuttle. The Dongshan shuttle uses a black jar as a container to warm the golden elixir spirit, and then combines it with the 5 elements to restore it. Chen Qingyun can improve and optimize it on the basis of copying the gourd, and refine his own top magic weapon. This is the result of a deduction. Taking advantage of the last half incense stick of time, Chen Qingyun further deduced. Under the plugin of the Epiphany state, he created the refining method of this puppet hall, and the required refining materials and array patterns were all comprehended by himself. In a blink of an eye, 5 days are up. Chen Qingyun was a little reluctant to leave. If he continued to deduce, he could deduce more results and deduce 1 or 2 sets of array instruments and magic weapons. When the time was up, the consciousness was automatically expelled from the ancient monument of Hunyuan. Chen Qingyun restrained his mind and was satisfied. A force of the immortal palace swept over, bringing Chen Qingyun out of this secret realm of enlightenment, and reappeared in the immortal palace hall. Seeing Chen Qingyun appear, Liu Zilin immediately stepped forward. "Qingyun, how do you feel?" Chen Xianming also came forward, with some expectation, wanting to know whether this ancient monument of the prehistoric world is useful and what Chen Qingyun has gained. "Great." Chen Qingyun smiled slightly, very satisfied with this enlightenment deduction. While the two were talking,
The old immortal moved again, waved his hand, and signaled Liu Zilin to enter the secret realm, and then go to comprehend the ancient monument of the prehistoric world. Chapter 582, Burrowing Rat. Following Chen Qingyun, Liu Zilin was guided and walked into the secret realm. She was a wood-attributed spiritual root, and the main skill she practiced was called Qingguang. This skill has 3 levels. The first level converts the true essence into Qingwu power, which has the effect of nourishing the Taoist body and increasing lifespan. The second level converts the Qingwu power into spiritual liquid, which can quickly recover from injuries and replenish blood and qi. The mana is stronger than that of the same level cultivators. When practicing to the third level, you can mobilize the Qingwu spiritual liquid for external use to cultivate spiritual plants, refine pills, and heal yourself or other creatures. In recent years, Liu Zilin has practiced this skill to the great success level, and her blood and qi are very full. The true essence in her body has been converted into Qingwu power. This kind of power is strong and pure, which greatly improves her strength. With her superb attainments in making talismans, her current strength has surpassed Jizhen, and she ranks among the top in this experience. Like Chen Qingyun, with the help of the epiphany effect of the ancient monument, Liu Zilin deduced and further improved the Qingguang. All the deficiencies and details in the technique were solved, making the Qingwu power more pure and rich. In the past, some doubts about the operation of the meridians and acupoints in the technique were just practiced step by step, but now they can understand the principles. After the whole deduction, Liu Zilin's understanding of this technique has reached a state of great perfection. Later, when forming the elixir, the power of Qingwu can be used to protect the Taoist body, assist the condensation of the golden elixir, and increase the chance of forming the elixir by 10%. Great! The result of this deduction made Liu Zilin very happy, and then she also deduced several magical spells that she practiced, and spent 3 days to perfect her understanding one by one. On the 4th day, she began to deduce the understanding of the talisman making, breaking through the bottleneck of the 3rd level talisman making in one fell swoop, and reached the 4th level grade in the mastery of theoretical knowledge. There was still 1 day left, and Liu Zilin continued to work hard, and like Chen Qingyun, she deduced a lifelong magic weapon suitable for herself. This magic weapon belongs to the auxiliary category. In principle, it is refined with the power of Qingwu and Ziluo water and fire. The effect of this magic weapon is that it can increase the length of the blue bar, and the magic power reaches a very durable level, which can be said to be 1 for 2. Liu Zilin temporarily called it the Qingwu Lotus Seal, and will start to refine it in the next few years. 5 days passed in a flash, and after Liu Zilin came out, it was Chen Xianming who entered the ancient monument of Hunyuan. As the head of a clan, Chen Xianming gave priority to the development of the family. In 5 days, he deduced several major techniques inherited by the family, such as Fiery Sky Sword Technique, Thick Earth Technique, Starfire Burning Sea Technique, Blue Sea Cloud Water Technique, etc. These techniques have been optimized and adjusted one by one, and they are highly suitable for cultivators to start practicing. Especially the Fiery Sky Sword Technique, the difficulty of which has been improved, and it has become much easier to get started. This fire attribute technique was originally just a foundation building technique. This time, Chen Xianming continued to write the method of cultivation in the Purple Mansion realm. In addition to being able to refine the highest quasi-life magic weapon Fire Sky Sword, it also added a new magical technique, called the Splitting Fire Shadow Sword. This move can be invincible among opponents of the same level, and it is not a problem to challenge an opponent of a higher level. The 3 people each gained something. After gathering together, they talked in a low voice with smiles on their faces. Finally, it was Nangong Yuang's turn. After this person entered the secret realm and began to deduce what exactly he did, Chen Qingyun and others did not know. The guesses are similar, nothing more than focusing on the technique. Among the 100 arts of cultivating immortals, Nangong Yuang only knows how to refine pills. This skill should have been deduced once and figured out the subsequent method of improvement. After completing the 3 opportunities in the Immortal Mansion, Nangong Yuang popped out of the secret realm. What to do next? Everyone was not clear, Their eyes fell on the old immortal, only to see that he was still sitting there with a smile. However, they did not wait too long. The old immortal waved his hand lightly, and the four people did not have time to react, wondering what he was doing. The next moment, the four people felt dizzy, the scene in front of them changed, and they were teleported out of the Immortal Mansion and scattered all over the Immortal Mansion. At the same time, a message appeared in their minds, telling them the reason. I have obtained the inheritance. Next, I just need to wait for the end of the experience to leave the Immortal Mansion, and I can move freely for the rest of the time. I was randomly teleported out. Chen Qingyun read the message left by the old immortal, and when he looked closely, he found that the environment he was in had changed a lot. At this moment, he was randomly teleported to a piece of land. In the distance, there were tornadoes sweeping across the sky, rolling up dust all over the sky, like a storm. Doomsday. Gold. Spirit Realm. Recognizing the environment he was in, Chen Qingyun looked around, and there was no trace of Chen Xianmin and the other two around him. It seems that they were indeed randomly teleported, and the other three are now scattered all over the Immortal Mansion. Since they could not be contacted for a while, Chen Qingyun simply moved around. According to Chen Xianming's original suggestion, he wanted to see if he could get some gold and stone spiritual materials here. In the Jingxing spiritual realm, there are Gengjin storms everywhere. This kind of storm contains powerful Gengjin power, which can easily tear apart the Purple Mansion cultivators. The biggest challenge to cross the Jingxing land is these Gengjin storms, which are inevitable to encounter large and small ones. Sometimes, when the road is blocked by a storm, it is inevitable to cross it and resist. Chen Qingyun wandered all the way, crossed this area, used the Zhuxiantu to defend, released a layer of light curtain to protect himself, and went straight through the Gengjin storm that blocked the road. Along the way, Chen Qingyun obtained several kinds of gold and stone spiritual materials, from the first to the third level, including 3 pieces of Tangxu divine stones. After wandering here for half a month, after approaching the Earth Spirit domain, Chen Qingyun stepped in. Looking around, this is a huge sand dune. The air is filled with a strong atmosphere of the earth, and it is a yellow earth world. The challenge here is a monster called the burrowing rat. The burrowing rat is transformed from the origin of the earth, about the size of a squirrel, good at burrowing underground, thick skin and flesh, and can use the earth thorn technique to attack the opponent. Killing the burrowing rat can obtain the true spirit of the earth, which is used to create the earth attribute life magic weapon. Chen Qingyun used 3 puppets to explore the way underground. After moving in this sand dune for half a day, he soon found the traces of the burrowing rat and launched an attack directly. The Heaven Sword puppet traveled underground, performing the wood entanglement technique to tightly entangle a burrowing rat. The burrowing rat did not expect that its proud burrowing ability would be discovered by a puppet and tightly entangled. Chapter 583 Saber-toothed Shark, Charm of Wood. The burrowing rat chirped and used the ground spike technique to condense more than a dozen flying sword-sized, extremely sharp ground spikes to pierce the Heavenly Sword puppet, but it missed. The Heavenly Sword puppet escaped into the sand dunes, much faster than it, and the Heavenly Sword in its hand was like a dragon out of the sea. With a puff and a few roars, the first burrowing rat was killed, and a wisp of earth spirit merged into Chen Qingyun's body. Earth Spirit. The opportunity is rare, collect as much as you can. 4. The next month, Chen Qingyun moved around in the Earth Spirit realm, looking for burrowing rats to kill and continue to obtain Earth Spirits. After collecting almost all, Chen Qingyun left the spiritual realm, passing through the starting point of the Fire Spirit realm and arriving at the Water Spirit realm. Not all cultivators have extraordinary means and the ability to cross the foggy area. Those who can't find teammates and are still weak can only move around in the 5 elements spirit realm and the periphery of the Immortal Mansion to pick up opportunities. When they arrived at the Water Spirit realm, there were traces of cultivators, many of whom were casual cultivators. Why, is it him? He is at the peak of the Purple Mansion, and his strength is not inferior to Jizun and the others. Why is he still wandering here at this time? What tricks is he playing? Is he trying to kill people and steal treasures? 2. of them recognized Chen Qingyun and quickly avoided him, so as not to be slaughtered as a fat sheep. Although they were puzzled, if they knew that Chen Qingyun had already arrived at the core of the immortal mansion and had obtained all the benefits of inheritance, their expressions would be wonderful. It is estimated that they would have the idea of killing people and stealing treasures, and would have the courage to join forces to rob. Chen Qingyun ignored the surrounding cultivators and looked at this water world. The water spirit realm is a vast water area. Looking around, it is a blue expanse, and there are a few tiny islands scattered in the water. The way to cross this vast water area is very simple, that is, to swim through the water. Those tiny islands can be used as a temporary resting place. However, it is not easy to swim over. A kind of monster called saber-toothed shark will appear in the water. This monster is the same as the flame fantasy beast, the wood charm, and the burrowing rat, which is a test. Killing the saber-toothed shark can obtain the water spirit, and the effect is also to participate in the refining of the water attribute life magic weapon. Unable to fly, Chen Qingyun released the sea god puppet to explore the way, and there were 3 puppets around, swimming in this water spirit area. Some of these saber-toothed sharks act alone, and more of them launch group attacks. Their strength is in the early to middle stage of the purple mansion, which is not difficult to deal with. If you encounter dozens of saber-toothed sharks hunting, even the top cultivators of the purple mansion can't bear it. There is a little luck in it. According to the combat ability of the sea god puppet, Chen Qingyun can easily beat these saber-toothed sharks. After a month of continuous action, the water spirits obtained reached 110 strands, and 110 saber-toothed sharks were killed. The water spirit realm borders the wood spirit realm. Chen Qingyun stepped into this area and found himself in a dense forest. There are ancient trees here, towering trees, and strong grass and trees everywhere, full of greenery. According to Liu Zilin, there will be a wood illusion array here. To be on guard, Chen Qingyun sacrificed the moon-sun orb. The bright moonlight shines out, reflecting the 4 directions, and begins to play the role of restraining illusions. The power of the wood illusion array lies in that it can simulate a maze-like environment, allowing the monks to keep turning around in the array, just like a ghost wall, circling in place. Nearby, on a cluster of vines as thick as an arm, a scarab crawled along the vines. After traveling more than 20 centimeters, it touched an invisible barrier. The small body unexpectedly became transparent and illusory, and then it was transmitted back to the original place. The little beetle didn't understand what was going on. It shook its head and looked around. It continued to crawl along the vines. As a result, it touched the invisible barrier and was teleported back to the original place again. This went back and forth, and it tried 3 times, but the result was still the same. The little beetle was not smart, so it had to change its route and fly in other directions. Array, barrier. Chen Qingyun noticed the abnormality triggered by the beetle and saw the problem at a glance. He tried to walk towards the barrier, and as expected, he didn't feel anything on his body, but the next moment his body flashed and he was also teleported back to the place where he had stopped. Infinite loop. This illusion is quite interesting. Chen Qingyun unfolded the moon-sun orb and reflected the light of the orb on the barrier, immediately revealing a corner of the array. You can see that it is distorted and blurred, like ripples on water, and an array barrier has appeared. Unknowingly, he has been in the wood illusion array. Chen Qingyun himself didn't know when it started. It was very strange. And this is just the simplest single-cycle illusion. At least the surrounding terrain has not changed. If it is a bit more complicated, with multiple environments superimposed, the area where you are located will change after being teleported, and you will think you have escaped the cycle. Little do you know, you have just entered another cycle. The difference is that the environment you are teleported to is random and always within the range of the formation. How to break this formation? Liu Zilin has already given the answer. Just use the magic weapon that restrains the illusion, or similar spiritual lie magic. Chen Qingyun restrained the illusion with the moon-sun orb, went deep into the formation, and could move easily in it. 3 days later, Chen Qingyun encountered the attack of the wood charm. This is a tree-like monster,
the tallest of which can reach 6 meters in size. It can use vines and sway leaves to attack like a blade. When captured by the wood charm, the next thing to face is a large number of sharp leaves. Magical weapons below the middle grade can't really stop it. Chen Qingyun restrained the wood charm with the fire god puppet, easily killed it, and obtained the wood charm true spirit. In the subsequent march, the Jiang sword was unsheathed, and more than a dozen wood charms were cut into pieces, and the scene was quickly cleared. After passing through the wood element illusion formation, Chen Qingyun arrived at the edge of the wood element spirit realm, where the vegetation was more lush and many unknown plants grew. Can I get the wood shengzu here? Chen Qingyun searched for a while, and when he was moving for a while, a figure suddenly came from a distance at a high speed. Get out! Before the figure approached, an angry shout came over. Chen Qingyun looked in the direction of the sound and saw a Xingzong disciple casting a magic talisman and controlling a treasure seal in his hand. He was not provoking anyone here, but someone took the initiative to pick a fight. Chen Qingyun raised his eyebrows and summoned the Jiang sword. The Xingzong cultivator was already panicking and only wanted to escape. At this moment, he felt the aura of the Jiang sword and screamed in surprise. Oh, no. How can it be another top-grade magic weapon? With a clang, the treasure seal was knocked away by the sword, and the light dimmed in the air, and it fell to the ground. Chapter 584, Spirit Tree, Snatching Food from the Tiger and number 039's mouth. The monk looked shocked and realized that he had kicked the iron plate. He quickly picked up the magic weapon and turned around to escape to the other side. Let's go. Can we go? Chen Qingyun's expression was cold, and he threw it in his hand, and the golden mesh spread out in the air, projecting a force of suppression and restraint, covering the monk in one fell swoop. Ah, don't kill me. Trapped by the gold mesh, the man had no way to escape and could only beg for mercy, his eyes darting around as he thought about countermeasures. Chen Qingyun made a false grip with his palms and tightened the golden wire mesh, tightly restraining the opponent. The Jiang sword in the air slid forward and hung on the opponent's forehead. The sharp sword energy made the opponent's face turn pale, and he only felt a stinging pain on his skin. If you have anything else to say, tell me. Chen Qingyun spoke coldly, looking down at the man on the ground, and realized that something was wrong with this matter. Judging from the other party's hurried movements, he was willing to use the magical talisman to escape. It seemed that there was something that scared him so much that he didn't choose his way out. Chen Qingyun saw the clues, and cold sweat broke out on the man's forehead. He secretly thought that he had just escaped from the ruthless man. How could he meet another one now? How could he be so unlucky? Not daring to hide anything, he quickly shouted, "It's Nangang Yuang, it's Nangang Yuang who wants to kill me. I just told you." Yes, I was presumptuous, Junior. Misunderstanding, this is purely a misunderstanding. Chen Qingyun frowned a little tighter when he heard this. The monk in front of him is obviously from the Qing sect. Nangang Yuang wants to kill his fellow disciple. What is going on? Chen Qingyun looked down coldly. Why, did he want to kill you? The Jiang sword in the air moved a little closer, which made the man tremble in fear. Out of his instinct of fear of death, he quickly said in an undisguised voice, "It's the essence wood, he's robbing the essence wood." Spirit wood. Chen Qingyun was secretly surprised. He has seen and used the soul-nourishing wood before. It has the effect of nourishing the soul. The effect of spirit wood is even better. It is the ancient ancestor of soul-nourishing wood and can improve the strength of the soul. This is a very pure soul-like spirit essence. It is only born in places where the wood element aura is very strong. The requirements for the growth environment are no less than those of wood-born beads. A piece of soul wood the size of a finger can advance the soul essence of a Zaifu monk to the golden elixir stage, increasing its strength by at least 5 times. Such a treasure can be called a priceless treasure. Its value even exceeds that of snow spirit fairy dew, and it will not be circulated in the market. If he could obtain it, it would be enough to make up for the soul consumed in refining the 2 clones of Baoang and Jiuyu. Moreover, the strength of the soul can be further improved, and several more clones can be refined to greatly increase the strength. This is the blessing that comes to your door. Chen Qingyun suppressed the throbbing in his heart, and with a thought in his mind, he was about to kill this person and search for it to see who had the soul wood. Saying it with your mouth is not as good as seeing it with your own eyes. Senior, wait a minute, wait a minute. Feeling Chen Qingyun's murderous intention, the man hurriedly explained, the spirit is not with me, it really is not with me, I can swear a poisonous oath to prove it. The man said with an almost crying tone, a dignified late-stage cultivator from the Purple Mansion, who was scared into such a bare shape, had no backbone. When Chen Qingyun saw this, he couldn't help but fell into deep thought. It seems that if you want to obtain the soul wood, you will inevitably have to fight with Nangang. Hopeless. Senior, please let me go. Nangang Yuang's methods are vicious. If we stay here for a long time, we may not be able to escape his vicious hands. It's better to leave as soon as possible. The man begged for mercy again, with a strong sense of urgency in his tone, as if he was about to encounter some terrifying existence at the next moment, and his body began to tremble. On the surface, he looked like this, humble and flexible, but secretly he was secretly activating the 2 yin fire thunders in the storage bag. As long as Chen Qingyun is soft-hearted and removes the shackles of the golden mesh, he will immediately send 2 yin fire thunders to entertain him. These 2 yin fire thunders were obtained by killing 3 Karagakure Island monks recently. In terms of sneak attacks, they are very good. Noticing the fearful look on the man's face, Chen Qingyun remained calm and could faintly hear the sound of fighting coming from a distance. If what the other party said is true, then the soul is probably still in the fighting stage. It's not impossible to grab food from a tiger's mouth. When you see an exciting opportunity, you still have to grab it. The hanging Jiang sword suddenly thrust out, and in the roar of the man's eyes widening, there was only an audible sound, and the opponent's head was immediately pierced. Immediately afterwards, the golden wire mesh shrank rapidly, and with the sound of bones squeezing, no one could be seen in front of him, leaving only a pool of flesh and blood. Chen Qingyun made a move with his palm, and the golden mesh unfolded, shaking off the blood-stained and broken meat on it, and a storage bag on the ground also flew into his hand. After continuous training here and participating in various fighting battles, Chen Qingyun's heart was as solid as stone, and he became more decisive and merciless in his attacks. Killing a living monk from the sect was something he was used to, without any hesitation or mercy. After erasing the consciousness on the storage bag, he used the Xuanwu puppet to explore and rummage through the storage bag. He made sure that he did not see the spirit wood. It seemed that this object was indeed not in this person's hands. The 2 yin fire thunders in the bag made Chen Qingyun narrow his eyes. It's yin fire thunder again. If he had been merciful just now and allowed the other party a way to survive, then what would greet him the next moment would be these 2 yin fire thunders. A spark popped up from his fingertips and fell to the ground, destroying the corpse and destroying all traces. Chen Qingyun sneaked all the puppets into the ground, and a purple spirit robe appeared in his hand, covering his body and breath, and sneaked towards the direction where the battle came from. The grass and trees turned against each other, the flowers and grass withered, and the ground was full of broken branches and leaves. The air was filled with a pungent smell of blood, and there were already 5 corpses lying on the ground. Judging from their clothes, there were 3 disciples of Xingzan and 2 casual cultivators, and none of their bodies was intact. The originally fertile land was burned black, and even many insects living here were not spared and died tragically. Although there were corpses on the ground, there were still survivors. At this time, there were 3 people in the field, each occupying one side in a 3-legged tripod posture. The 3 people seemed to be fighting each other, but in fact, if you look closely, you can tell at a glance that 2 of them have reached a consensus, and their eyes are fixed on a man who is on fire and has a cold expression not far away. Behind the man, a red ring is suspended in the air, burning with blazing flames. 9 fire dragons coiled and floated in the ring, revealing a majesty that looked down on all living things. 9 fire dragon ring, who else could possess such a treasure except Nangang Yuang of Xingzan? Looking at the 2 people opposite Nangang Yuang, one had a cold face, a thin figure,
and a fierce look like an eagle, with a black centipede-like poisonous insect standing on his shoulder. The other one looked to be in his 50s or 60s, dressed in Lingbo Shan clothes, and his aura was not concealed at all, reaching the peak of the Purple Mansion realm. These two people were Han Wu and Taoist Qiyuan. Chapter 585, The Fire of Witchcraft, the Aureole Behind. At this moment, 3 outstanding Purple Mansion period masters from various sects gathered here. Han Wu and Taoist Qiyuan have secretly joined forces and reached a consensus to deal with Nangong Yuang first. In the center of the 3 people, a protective band was set up, firmly protecting a tree emitting colorful light inside. This tree is shining, swallowing and exhaling the surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth, constantly nourishing its branches and leaves, attracting 4 hot eyes. 3rd level. Top-grade spiritual wood, spirit wood, there really is such a thing. Chen Qingyun, who was hiding on the side, had bright eyes and was also jealous. He confirmed the authenticity of this treasure and could not move his feet. The growth environment of the spirit wood is quite special. It is not like other trees that need to grow on the ground to absorb sunlight and rain in photosynthesis. Instead, it grows underground all year round and absorbs the spiritual charm of the earth veins. It will not emerge until it is about to mature in 100 years, and then absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to finally mature. With such a growth pattern, it is no wonder that Liu Zilin did not notice it before. I think the spirit tree was still underground at that time. Without the help of spiritual consciousness, who would dig 3 feet underground to look around? Brother, Nangong is really heartless. For this spirit tree, he can even kill his own fellow disciples. I have really learned a lot today. Taoist Qiyuan narrowed his eyes and broke the silence. The talisman in his hand has been activated to the extreme and can release the power of the seal at any time. If it were in normal times, Taoist Qiyuan would choose to avoid Nangong Yuang alone. But he was the first to discover this spirit tree, so it should be first come first served. It's a pity that the noise caused by the birth of this spirit tree was too loud, which attracted a large amount of spiritual energy from the heaven and earth within a radius of 100 miles. With such a thing, it would be strange if it didn't attract many cultivators to come and explore. First, there were 4 Xingzong monks, then 2 independent monks, and then Han Wu, and then Nangong Yuang. 9 monks were attracted at once, and naturally they could not avoid fighting openly and secretly. The result can be seen from the corpses on the ground. If the previous Xingzong monk had not been a little ruthless and used his fellow monk to block the knife at the moment of life and death, he would have a place on the ground now. They are just some jumping clowns. Killing his fellow monks and cleaning up the debris, Nangong Yuang felt like killing chickens, without any mercy, and his face showed a chill. You two want to die too? As soon as the voice fell, the aura of the 9 fire dragon ring behind him increased greatly. The 9 fire dragons faced Han Wu and Taoist Qiyuan, and suddenly roared with dragon roars that shook the earth and the ground, shaking the grass and trees a few times. The dragon roars instantly spread tens of thousands of meters away, startling the surrounding monks. When they recognized Nangong Yuang, their faces changed and they began to feel fearful. Haha, what a great prestige. Taoist Qiyuan sneered and looked at Han Wu. Seeing that the other party nodded slightly, he immediately stated his position. Today is a coincidence, so let's learn the skills of the first Purple Mansion in Xinghai. Before the voice fell, Han Wu and Taoist Qiyuan chose to temporarily join forces to solve this most difficult enemy first. Who will get the spirit wood later will compete later. Taoist Qiyuan used the Fubo Shan Zhen Shan seal in his hand, and a seal flew out of the air. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a size of 30 or 40 feet, carrying the momentum of overwhelming and suppressing evil and smashing towards Nangong Yuang. At the same time, Han Wu joined forces and waved his sleeves, sending out a dark wave that swept forward. A closer look revealed that they were thumb-sized, pitch-black centipede-like poisonous insects. The battle started again, and suddenly there were waves of dragon roars. Nangong Yuang fought 1 against 2, controlling the 9 fire dragon ring to fly forward in the air, and the 9 fire dragons turned into 2 groups. One group of 5 dragons hit the treasure seal that was smashed at once, and the powerful force directly hit it with a loud bang, and the whole thing exploded. The other group was 4 fire dragons, facing the flying centipede poisonous insects that were rushing towards them. The blazing flames surged, and the fire dragons showed their power, easily dissolving this attack. A large number of poisonous insects were burned into ashes, and they could not withstand such a fire attack at all. After all, they knew Nangong Yuang's strength, so they did not plan to decide the winner in a few moves. Han Wu and the others had expected this step long ago, and chose to work together to consume Nangong Yuang's mana, and then look for flaws to severely injure him. Han Wu used his trump card, and when he made a gesture with his hands, the witch fire emerged from his palms. This was a kind of yin attribute spiritual fire that could restrain the fire cast by magic weapons. The witch fire was activated and turned into 9 flying flame snakes, locking onto the 9 fire dragons and shooting out with a whoosh. The 9 fire dragons were unable to dodge and were all hit. Black flames rose from their bodies. They were restrained and danced wildly in the air. Spirit fire. Chen Qingyun, who was watching the battle, was moved and couldn't help but look at the witch fire in Han Wu's hand twice more. Han Wu had the upper hand here, and Taoist Qiyuan on the other side saw this situation and did not hold back. He sacrificed one of his trump cards, the Thunderlight Mace, and released more than a dozen silver snake-like thunders to hit Nangong Yuang directly. Facing the 2 people joining forces, even if the 9 fire dragons fell into a disadvantage and were restrained, Nangong Yuang still had a sure win and was not panicked at all. His aura suddenly changed, and a black cloak-like magic weapon was unfolded, making a rustling sound and rolling forward. When the dozen silver snake lightnings touched the body less than 1 meter away, they were all absorbed by the black cloak magic weapon. They flickered a few times, and the lightning disappeared and was completely dissolved. Oh, no, it's the Dark Sun cloak. How could it be on him? Han Wu, who had not spoken, saw the magic weapon used by Nangong Yuang at this time, and his face suddenly changed. Not good. At the same time, Taoist Qiyuan also had an expression of seeing a ghost, and quickly withdrew the Thunderlight Mace. This battle only lasted 2 or 3 rounds. Originally, the 2 still had the strength to fight, and could repel Nangong Yuang, and then fight for the spirit wood fairly. Now something unexpected happened, and a Dark Sun cloak appeared in the world, which instantly changed the situation. Facing the temporary truce, Nangong Yuang could see the thoughts of the 2 people. His eyes were heavy, and he swept Han Wu like a sharp sword. Taoist Qiyuan glanced at him and spoke coldly. Leave, or die. Just 5 words, falling into the ears of the 2. They only felt the sound was deafening, stirring up thousands of waves in their hearts. Since you have already started, then let me show you this trick again. Qiyuan was unwilling to give up. It was a rare opportunity to join forces with Han Wu. The attraction of the spirit wood was too great. While gritting his teeth, he decided to use another killer move to test the power. If he couldn't win again, he would really have to retreat in embarrassment and dare not get involved in it again. Chapter 586, 1 vs 3. Nangong Yuang stood proudly in the field, his body straight like a sharp sword. The strong aura on his body soared into the sky, and he was awe-inspiring, with a kingly demeanor. It was hard to imagine that a purple mansion cultivator could be a few steps ahead in aura and firmly suppress Han Wu and Qiyuan. Aura and 9 fire dragons surrounded his body, each of which was comparable to the strength of the late purple mansion, revealing the proud intention of overlooking the common people, vivid and lifelike. Being able to control the magic weapon to this extent is enough to show how great his cultivation is. Seeing that the situation had changed, this battle might not last long. Chen Qingyun's eyes were surging with light, and he thought about it and decided to take action as soon as possible. He quietly urged the underground Zhuxiantu puppet to come to his side, carefully removed the purple spirit robe on his body, and covered the Zhuxiantu puppet. With the cover of the purple spirit robe, the Zhuxiantu puppet disappeared, and could only sense its existence through the connection with the magic weapon. Go. Silently, launching the earth escape technique, diving to a depth of 3 or 4 meters as a cover, A puppet moved through the earth and approached the spirit tree. In an environment where the divine sense does not work, this is simply a natural lurker. Looking at the scene again, this time, Taoist Qingyun launched his strongest move. He urged a black and gold treasure mirror, and the mirror surface was bright. A huge wave of divine light shot out, wrapped in an amazing momentum that pierced through mountains and rivers. The quasi-natal magic weapon, Hunyuan Mirror, is also one of the most outstanding magic weapons in Lingbao Mountain. It once helped Taoist Qingyun to kill 6 purple mansion monsters in a row. Hunyuan Divine Light is known for its attack power, fast speed, and full of explosive power. In an instant, the sky and the earth were bright, and all those present couldn't help but squint their eyes, only feeling a dazzling moment. Nangong Yuang stood still, the dark sun cloak unfolded, rolled forward, and absorbed and disintegrated all the Hunyuan Divine Light. This magic weapon is one of the top quasi-life magic weapons of Xingzong. Its power is no less than that of Dongshan Shuttle. It can absorb and restrain energy attacks below the giant stage. The dark sun cloak unfolded, just like a bottomless black hole, absorbing all the Hunyuan Divine Light. The whole cloak was reflected in gold, but there was no damage. As the light on the Hunyuan mirror gradually dimmed, the world returned to its original state, and the figure of Nangong Yuang appeared. He still stood proudly, with his hair shining, his eyes were aggressive, and he looked at Taoist Qingyun quietly with the attitude of a fairy and a demon looking down. There were no words, but the action he showed was all telling. Is this all your ability? Looking at Taoist Qingyun again, holding the Hunyuan mirror in his hand, his face was already gloomy to the extreme. Just looking at this look, you can guess how bad he felt. The first purple mansion in Xinghai is indeed well deserved. Han Wu took a deep breath, realized the gap, and broke the calm. Even a strong man like Qian Dao Ren was helpless against Nangong Yuang, who just stood there and took the beating passively. The result was good, he was unscathed. Looking at Qian Dao Ren, his face was so gloomy that water was about to drip out, and his strongest attack was directly invalidated. How could he fight like this? His morale was completely destroyed. You still want to attack? Nangong Yuang spoke, word by word, impacting Qian Dao Ren's mind. Han Wu hummed, took the initiative to put away the magic weapon, and stepped back a few steps. Guessing that his teammates would retreat, Qian Dao Ren was unwilling, but what could he do? Naturally, he would not continue to fight against the stone with an egg. When he was about to retreat with them and hand over the treasure, his eyes finally looked in the direction of the spirit wood. It was this glance that made his pupils shrink, and he couldn't help but be surprised. Huh? What? Immediately afterwards, the next sentence was blurted out by Han Wu. The two looked at the same time, as if they had seen something incredible. The spirit wood, which had originally emerged from the ground, was now being driven by some force and pulled underground. How dare you? Nangong Yuang shouted, and anger finally appeared on his originally indifferent face. He pointed his right hand forward and threw out a spike magic weapon, piercing the roots of the spirit wood. At the same time, Han Wu and Qian Dao Ren also attacked with thunder, each launching attacks to intercept. A witchcraft fire, a red short sword, and a sharp spike. 3 attacks came from 3 directions at high speed, all aiming at one area. The 3 were strong men who had fought in battle. They saw what was happening in front of them at a glance and guessed that a 4th person was attacking in secret. At this time, they didn't care about their own competition, and worked together to keep the spirit wood first. A basalt shield light rose up, unfolded to a radius of 3 meters, forming an inverted semicircle, and quickly covered the spirit wood. 3 attacks almost simultaneously and precisely hit the Xuan Wu shield light, creating a strong shockwave. Under normal circumstances, any attack from any of the 3 would be enough to give a cultivator of the same level a headache and be difficult to resist. But when the 3 of them worked together, they found that they could not break through the defensive shield light, and their faces suddenly changed. What a powerful defense! Which Taoist friend is here? Get out! 3 voices sounded in succession. Taoist Qian, Han Wu, and Nangong Yuang spoke one after another, their eyes all focused on the spirit wood. Under the eyes of the crowd, the spirit wood was caught by a figure and disappeared into the ground. Who? Seeing the treasure that was within reach being taken away, Nangang Yuang's face darkened. The murderous intent in his eyes almost condensed into substance, and he could not see what was happening in front of him. He had thought of everything, but he had never thought that someone would be the one behind the three of them and take away the spirit wood so blatantly. This was not the outrageous part. The most outrageous thing was that this happened right under his nose. Who was he? The first purple mansion in Xinghai, high above, admired by all. At this time, he became a clown, and his opportunity was taken away in front of Qian Daoran and Han Wu. The scene fell into a dead silence. The three of them stopped talking, and even tried to suppress their breathing. They looked around, paying attention to any slight movement, even the sound of a mosquito flapping its wings. Until Qian Daoran saw a clue, he suddenly laughed at himself and greeted him. "Since you are here, fellow Taoist Chen, why don't you show up?" As soon as these words fell, Han Wu's eyes were full of brilliance, and he also realized something. He looked around and instinctively felt that there seemed to be a ferocious beast lurking nearby, ready to launch a fatal attack at any time. This was a threat that he had never felt from Nangang Yuang, and it was extremely real. Nangang Yuang frowned, wondering if the fourth person was Chen Xianming, Chen Qingyun, or another cultivator. Suddenly, he swept his eyes and looked into the distance with Han Wu and the others. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 587, Surrounded by Puppets. Overwhelming the enemy. A loud laugh was heard, and the laughter was clear and bright, like the sun breaking through the clouds and the dawn. Then, accompanied by a breath rising into the sky, it turned into a violent tornado that washed the world, blowing the surrounding grass and trees to the ground and swaying. Several tall and mighty black figures suddenly appeared, each standing on one side, with an indifferent look, and also releasing their own top aura, guarding a young man in the center like a star, and worshipping him as the master. The three people's eyes fell on the six figures on the periphery one by one, and their pupils suddenly shrank. Because at this moment, it can be clearly felt that they are six Purple Mansion Peak cultivators. No, to be precise, the six figures should not be called people, but puppets. Purple Mansion puppets. When they got closer, they looked closely. The person in the center, who was surrounded by stars, had an aura that soared into the sky, and was in high spirits. He exuded a domineering aura that no one could match. Who else could be protected by six Purple Mansion puppets except Chen Qingyun? Originally, one puppet was enough to make people afraid, and now there were six. And Chen Qingyun, the powerful master. At this moment, the picture in front of them was crazy. Underground, the black tortoise puppet emerged and stood upright beside Chen Qingyun, turning into his left and right arms, and blatantly handed over the spirit wood in his hand to Chen Qingyun. Dead silence. At this moment, the atmosphere fell into a dead silence again. Being noticed by Taoist Qian and recognizing his origin, Chen Qingyun decided not to hide it anymore. He stood up and appeared here calmly. The original three-person battle. Now because of Chen Qingyun's joining, the competition instantly climbed to a higher level. Taoist Qian had been paying attention to Chen Qingyun for a long time, and now he saw with his own eyes that Chen Qingyun's puppets were so powerful that one of them was equivalent to a Purple Mansion Peak cultivator. He was shocked, but he could only suppress his inner fighting spirit and continued to greet with a smile. To have such strength, it is indeed fellow Taoist Chen. Chen Qingyun's face was full of calmness. His eyes swept over Taoist Qian, Han Wu, and Nangang Yuang in turn, and then smiled slightly. Everyone, this spirit wood, Chen has taken a fancy to it today. As soon as the voice fell, in front of the three people, he put the spirit wood directly into the storage ring, without any room for negotiation, and didn't care how the three people would answer. Seeing Chen Qingyun so strong, Han Wu's facial muscles twitched, and he wanted to open his mouth to scold a few words. But after noticing the 7 puppets of Poseidon, Xuan Wu, and Tan Lai again, and looking at Chen Qingyun's powerful aura, he dared not move and shut up immediately. Here, the fish is dead and the net is broken, 2 tigers are fighting, and there is no telling how many orioles are behind. He thought he was not Chen Qingyun's opponent, and he had to admit defeat when it was time. Ha ha ha, interesting, really interesting. Taoist Qingyun suddenly laughed crazily as if he was possessed, with a self-deprecating look on his face, and his eyes turned and fell on Nangang Yuang. Nangang Yuang, Nangang Yuang, we are fighting here, and we have to tell who is stronger and who is weaker, but in the end, we are just making wedding clothes for others. As soon as the voice fell, regardless of Nangang Yuang's gloomy face, Taoist Qingyun smiled bitterly and shook his head, and left without looking back. Fellow Taoist Chen is still very capable. I am ashamed of myself. I have learned a lot from you today. If we have a chance, we will have a good fight someday. In Taoist Qingyun's opinion, Chen Qingyun must be very powerful to be able to take the spirit wood under the noses of the 3 of them. The defensive light curtain just now was so powerful that it resisted the combined attack of the 3 of them at the same time. This strength can be seen. If he wants to snatch it now, can he beat him? There are 2 fierce characters eyeing him covetously on the side. Which one is easy to deal with? Chen Xianmin and Liu Zilin are still in the Immortal Mansion. If you offend Chen Qingyun, you will offend them as well. What good will you get? Seeing Taoist Qingyun leave, Han Wu glanced at Nangang Yuang, made a decision quickly, and had no intention of staying. It's for you. He looked back at Chen Qingyun, clasped his hands, and then decisively used the escape technique and left quickly. In Han Wu's opinion, without the assistance of Taoist Qingyun, there is no chance of winning whether it is against Chen Qingyun or Nangang Yuang. This trip to the Immortal Palace is not without great gains. A spirit wood is not worth risking one's life. Chen Qingyun appeared on the scene for less than a minute and immediately repelled 2 people, leaving Nangang Yuang alone in the field. Chen Qingyun strolled leisurely, still looking calm and composed. The 7 puppets around him came forward together and followed his every step. The oppressive feeling brought by the 7 top Purple Palace puppets frightened any Purple Palace cultivator. If it is said that they would be exhausted to death if they fight alone, not to mention that they would be attacked by a group and would not have any advantage. Fellow Taoist Nangang. Chen Qingyun faced Nangang Yuang with a pause for every word, still determined to get the spirit wood. What do you think? In the past, he was high and mighty, respected by others, and surrounded by flattering eyes. Nangang Yuang was arrogant and conceited, and it was not without reason. Not long ago, he fought 1 against 2, against Taoist Qingyun and Han Wu, and his domineering and arrogant intentions were fully revealed. But now, he felt a strong breath of danger from Chen Qingyun. This is the premonition of a cultivator. It sounds mysterious, but it is real and cannot be questioned. This is the 2nd time in his life that he has experienced such a feeling from a Purple Mansion cultivator. The last time was decades ago, from the old ancestor Qingguang in the Purple Mansion period. But even if he was afraid, Nangang Yuang's arrogance would not let him give up easily. He looked directly into Chen Qingyun's eyes and said in a deep tone, "Do you really want to go against me?" It was just a question, which pointed out everything, and even reminded Chen Qingyun not to make mistakes. He should know who he is facing now. Chen Qingyun smiled casually, without showing any intention of retreating. I have long heard of the reputation of the first Purple Mansion in Xinghai. Chen has long wanted to learn a thing or two. He was neither humble nor arrogant, and faced it directly. When the enemy comes, I will fight him. When the water comes, I will block it with earth, as if I treat the enemy as nothing. I am the only one in the world. I am the only one in the world. I swallow the whole world, and I encompass the 4 seas. At this moment, the aura displayed by Chen Qingyun made Nangang Yuang feel as if he had seen the old ancestor Qingguang in the past, but he was even more powerful, domineering, and unmatched than the old ancestor Qing Ning. Chapter 588, Reputation Soars, Spirit and Soul Improve. Looking at Chen Qingyun's calmness, which was more feared than the old ancestor Qing Ning in those days, Nangang Yuang was stunned for a moment. He couldn't help but think of Zhu Ziheng's fall. Such a top-level purple mansion was killed by Chen Qingyun just a few days after entering the Immortal Mansion. Then after climbing to the 9th floor of the ring cloud layer, he saw Chen Qingyun's figure. Finally, there were the 7 puppets in front of him, each of which was extraordinary. In a flash, Nangang Yuang bit his tongue and forced himself to come back to his senses from the state of shock, and made up his mind to achieve the reputation of the first purple mansion in Xinghai. It is naturally not a simple-minded and well-developed character. The scheming, means, etc. are not comparable to ordinary cultivators. If he fought and failed to beat Chen Qingyun, even if he saved his life in the end, his own reputation would not be saved. If he was defeated by Chen Qingyun, what qualifications would he have to be respected as the first purple mansion in Xinghai? Then the owner must be changed, and this honorable title must be taken off. Then why not take action and just hand over the treasure? It is not necessarily willing, and it is a bit aggrieved. After weighing the pros and cons quickly, Nangang Yuang actually wanted to retreat when he saw Chen Qingyun's momentum of fighting. Taking risks for a spirit wood and offending such a strong man may result in the end of being stripped of the title. It is obviously not worth it. After leaving the Immortal Mansion, he will not be unable to form a pill in the future. He deduced the skills at the ancient monument of the prehistoric times, and the harvest was not inferior at all. If there are doubts in the heart, then it is impossible to make a firm choice to take action. Nangang Yuang said nothing. Under Chen Qingyun's seemingly smiling gaze, he immediately turned away with the 9-fire dragon ring, without stopping for a step, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. This action seemed to be afraid that someone would see it and laugh at this scene. This step of choice today is undoubtedly the most correct. If we really have to fight, and see Chen Qingyun use 5 puppets, and then 12 puppets come out at the same time, then there is really no way to escape. Not long after. In a huge valley at the edge of the wood spirit realm. In a temporary cave, Chen Qingyun set up the Xuanian Black Water Formation and Gengjin Sword Formation around it, plus 12 puppets as guardians, and then sat cross-legged on the ground. Spiritual Soul Wood. Looking at the spiritual wood in front of him, Chen Qingyun's eyes were burning, and he decided to refine it first to improve his own spirit. The soul nurturing wood is half the size of a person, and the essence is gathered in the roots. After picking, it must be refined within a year, otherwise it will not be able to maintain its spiritual charm. Chen Qingyun used the Aurora blade to carefully remove the branches and leaves and remove the essence from the roots. After a while, 12 roots of different sizes, containing sky blue spiritual liquid, were suspended in the air. From this number, it is enough to greatly improve the soul of a purple mansion cultivator and raise it to the golden core level. In this immortal mansion, the strength of the soul will not be affected by the power of rules. Let's start. Taking a deep breath, Chen Qingyun began to refine the spirit wood. Time passed inadvertently. This time, Nangang Yuang's defeat was enough to cause a lot of waves in the future. Taoist Qian and Han Wu would not keep this matter secret, just to dampen Nangang Yuang's arrogance. However, the two deliberately kept a hand. In order not to offend Chen Qingyun, the news of Chen Qingyun's appearance was not revealed. Instead, the winner who won the spirit wood was deliberately hidden, covering a layer of mysterious veil. Who it is, everyone can guess for themselves. The news that the spirit wood was taken away and Nangang Yuang missed it began to spread all over the sky, and it was heard by many people in just half a month. Sun Zongxian, Linksai, Beiyining, Jizhen, Beiyin, these top-ranked cultivators. After hearing the news, they were surprised and curious about who had the courage and ability to snatch food from Nangang Yuang's tiger's mouth. Moreover, at that time, Taoist Qian and Han Wu were both present, which meant that this person took the spirit wood from the hands of the 3 top purple palaces by himself. Among the cultivators participating in the training this time, who has this strength? This made some people speculate, and soon they thought of the person who killed Zhu Ziheng, whether it was the same person as this ruthless man. Could it be him? Bei Yining thought about it, and the first thing she thought of was Chen Qingyun, guessing that he must have used a puppet to kill the spirit wood. In the past few months, she broke through the ring cloud alone, landed on the 6th floor, and got a jade sword. The 7th floor, after trying for more than 10 days, still couldn't get through. So she had to retreat, and began to move around the 5 elements spirit realm during this period, waiting for the cooperation period to come. Chen Qingyun, it's him. In the water spirit realm, Jizun raised her sword and killed a 3rd-grade upper-grade saber-toothed shark, with a strange light in her eyes. The soul has been improved, and the trip to the demon god swamp in the near future will be safer. We still have to rely on his help. On the other side, outside the foggy area, Chen Xianming has killed 6 void monsters in the past few days to collect demon pills for the family. When he heard the news, he was sure that it was Chen Qingyun who took action. Ha ha ha, it's worthy of Qingyun. The spirit wood, this is a good thing, go for it, grab it well. The old patriarch was happy for Chen Qingyun from the bottom of his heart, and he felt his blood boiling. In the ring-shaped cloud layer, a sparsely populated area, Liu Zilin learned this from Beiyan and was overjoyed. With this spirit wood, Qingyun's soul strength will be greatly improved, which is something to be happy about. Chen Qingyun turned a deaf ear to the outside world. After 2 months of refining, he finally raised his soul to a new height. The soul that was consumed by the refining of the 8 desolations and the 9 nethers was restored and healed, reaching a perfect state. This time, the soul broke through the scope of the purple mansion period and reached the level of the middle stage of the golden core. This time, the soul has been improved, the mind and consciousness have been qualitatively improved, and the number of magic weapons that can be controlled at the same time has exceeded 300. Although the natal magic weapon consumes more mind, I can control 100 of them if I build 100 golden core puppets. The more Chen Qingyun thought about it, the more excited he felt, and a smile appeared on his mouth. Later, he formed the elixir as soon as possible, and then collected materials to start refining the deduced natal magic weapon, further strengthening the 5 elements puppets and improving the strength of the 8 desolations and the 9 nethers. By then, there will be few rivals in the giant stage. Do this after leaving the immortal mansion, and form the elixir as soon as possible. Chen Qingyun has a plan for subsequent practice. Calculating the time, there are less than 8 months before the gathering deadline, and it will take about 6 months to cross the fog area. The gathering time is coming soon, so let's cross the fog area first. Chen Qingyun communicated with the sea god, Xuanwu and other puppets lurking in the outside world, and confirmed that there were no potential threats around, and then left the cave. Chapter 589 Demon God Swamp, Precious Sand Mud. Walking straight all the way towards the foggy area, the improvement of the soul brings very obvious senses. Even without the use of spiritual consciousness, Chen Qingyun can clearly feel that he can already detect the slightest movement within a kilometer radius with just his 6 senses. It's as if he has already deployed his spiritual consciousness to explore the surroundings. But the golden elixir stage spirit is actually so magical. The second time I traveled through the foggy area, I had a different feeling, a different state of mind, and a wider perceptible range. It is no longer the foggy area during the window period, and now in Chen Qingyun's eyes, it no longer has much challenge. At the same time, as the power of rule showed, Chen Qingyun did not encounter a void spirit that actively attacked after traveling for a month. In the following 5 months, Chen Qingyun occasionally took the initiative to attack, easily killing 6 void spirits, and then traversed the entire foggy area. Stepping into the ring of clouds, we arrived at the previously agreed upon location, where a purple figure was already waiting. It was none other than Jizun, waiting here in advance. "You're here?" Seeing Chen Qingyun appear, Jizun did not ask whether the spirit wood was in Chen Qingyun's hands, and continued to wait quietly for others. The two waited for more than 10 days. Soon, Liu Zilin, Chen Xianming, and Bei Yining came one after another and finally gathered. The team members were all present, and each of the 5 had an immortal jade sword in their hands. Considering that the training time was limited, they stopped delaying and headed towards the foggy area together. Soon after, before stepping into the crack of the abyss again, Jizun took out the jade sword and said seriously, "Everyone, thank you for taking care of us. We will cooperate in accordance with the previously signed agreement. We hope that you can achieve mutual benefit and avoid internal strife."
"Yeah, okay."
Bei Yining took the lead in nodding. "There are a total of 12 jade swords in the Immortal Mansion. We have 5 here, and there are 7 more for other participants to obtain. In this operation, there will definitely be more than 5 of us entering the Demon God Swamp. We will inevitably join forces to fight against others." Jizun thought carefully. When acquiring the jade sword, she also paid attention to the situation of other jade swords. According to her observation, there were 20 monks in total who finally set foot on the ring-shaped cloud layer. Excluding her, Bei Yining, and Chen Qingyun, there are still 15 people who have a chance to obtain the jade sword. Judging from the combat effectiveness, the number of people who can reach the 5th floor and get the first jade sword will not exceed 10. If they join forces, they will fight over the ownership of the jade sword and cause internal strife. The person who can finally obtain the jade sword must not be an ordinary person. Our competitors must not be 7. I estimate there will be between 2 and 3. Those who can defeat the 4 immortal guards on the 7th cloud bridge are very rare. In the future, the 9th cloud bridge will be more difficult. If you want to successfully pass the challenge, only Nangong Yuang has a chance." Jizun guessed, her eyes deliberately paying attention to Chen Qingyun's expression. In fact, she guessed that Chen Qingyun should have already climbed to the core of the Immortal Mansion. According to the cloud bridge where the Immortal Mansion is located, there is a jade sword on each of the 5th, 7th and 9th bridges, and then calculated from the 4 sets of cloud bridges. She and Bei Yining each got 1 at the 5th cloud bridge. So of the remaining 10, 2 are on the 5th cloud bridge in the south and west of the annular cloud layer, and the rest are on the 7th and 9th cloud bridges. Now, Chen Qingyun and the other 3 have 1 each, which means that the other party has at least completed the challenge on the 7th cloud bridge. If other participants want to get the jade sword, they have to get it from the 5th, 7th, or even 9th cloud bridge. It's true to think so. There are only so many jade swords. But Jizun just didn't dare to imagine that Chen Qingyun and the others had gone through 5 levels and killed 6 generals, from the 1st level to the 9th level, and they had already obtained opportunities from the core of the Immortal Mansion. Of course, this matter would not be disclosed to the outside world, so Chen Qingyun let Jizun guess. Jizun continued, "Fortunately, the longevity fruit is difficult to pick. Other Taoists who have obtained the jade sword may not be willing to enter the Demon God Swamp. There are still too few monks who know the secret of the immortality fruit. It does not mean that one can learn this secret by obtaining the jade sword." Fellow Taoist Ji has thought carefully. "When the time comes that we really need to unite with the outside world, I will definitely take action with all my strength. This fruit opportunity should be fought for." Chen Xianmin smiled. "Let's go without further delay." Chen Qingyun suggested. The abyss crack opened several meters away, and the spatial turbulence in it was vaguely visible. 5 people, holding the Xianfu jade sword in hand, stepped into it one after another. The scene in front of me changed, and colorful lights began to appear. Waves of powerful tearing sensation swept across, making people feel like they were in a mountain of knives and a sea of fire, enveloped by waves of coercion, as if they were about to be torn into pieces in the next moment. Then, at this critical moment, the jade sword exerted a gentle force and wrapped each of the 5 people, forming a protective layer. Colorful spatial turbulence comes from all directions, and after contacting this protective layer, they are all offset and reduced to nothing. In just a blink of an eye, a bright white light flashed in front of his eyes, and the world changed. This is a huge swamp, and 5 people appear on the edge of the swamp. At first glance, The vegetation here is sparse. It is not until a few hundred meters deep into the swamp that lush flowers and plants gradually take root and grow. It can be used as a swamp. After thousands of years, countless plants and spiritual medicines have grown here, withered, and disappeared. The final medicinal properties and spiritual charms are all integrated into the swamp mud. It can be said that this oil in these swamps is not ordinary mud. In the world of immortal cultivation, there is a special name to describe it. Dan mud. This Dan mud has a wide range of uses. It can not only be used as spiritual soil to nourish the growth of spiritual medicines, or used to participate in medicine. Moreover, if the cultivators in the qi refining and foundation building stages can soak in it, it can also nourish the body of Taoism, eliminate some hidden injuries left by the battle, and regulate the body. It can be said that the place where Dan mud exists is relatively safe. Just like fireflies, they like to move in places where they feel safe. These Dan muds can be formed naturally, and countless spiritual medicines are born and die here, and monsters will not choose to fight here. Otherwise, the appearance of blood and qi will inevitably disrupt the balance of yin and yang and the harmony of cold and heat here. The people present were all knowledgeable, so how could they not recognize the famous Danny? Chen Xianming took the lead, took out a brand new storage bag, and began to fill it with Danny. Not afraid of being laughed at by others, the old patriarch thought of the younger generations of the family, who could use the Danny. For the sake of future generations and for the benefit of the family, the old patriarch thought of this at the first time. Chen Qingyun also took some, which he used to plant spiritual medicine in the blessed land bead, and he could also take it back to King Luan to regulate his body. Jizun was used to Danny, and Yaoang Mountain had rich reserves, and it had cultivated such a spiritual land. So she waited quietly. After Bai Yining and Liu Zilin also took some Danny, the five of them continued to explore the swamp. Chapter 590, The Earth Soul Method, Longevity Fruit. Visible to the naked eye, the swamp is dotted with hard rocks, some of which are the size of a fist, and some are more than 10 meters wide. There is another world here, which is also a small world, similar to the blessed land bead, but it is not a magic weapon, but is nurtured by the laws of the immortal palace. The five people began to move through these hard rocks and headed towards the northern area of the swamp. According to Jizun's description, the longevity fruit tree is there. From here, due to the slow progress, it is not possible to walk in a straight line all the way around the hard rocks. It took almost a day to set foot in the northern area of the swamp, and the smell of decayed plants and trees in the air began to fade a lot. Along the way, there were few monsters in the swamp, all of which were very small spirit insects, and occasionally a few crocodiles and lizard monsters. Because there were ice soul beasts in front, the five slowed down to avoid alerting the snake. Chen Qingyun began to explore the way with the black tortoise puppet, escaped into the swamp, and after walking for hundreds of steps, he soon made a discovery. Not far away, a huge piece of land protruded from the swamp, forming an island, standing in the swamp mud. Compared with the areas passed by before, the land plants here gradually increased, bees began to collect pollen around, and snakes appeared, mostly small spirit insects, and monsters were active. Through their keen perception, the five people soon realized that there was a powerful monster dormant here, and they could capture a faint smell of monsters in the air. Monsters are different from cultivators. They don't practice the skills of hiding their breath, so their own demonic aura will always be revealed. Strange, although there is demonic aura, where is the monster? Bai Yining looked around. This doubt just sprouted, and the next moment there was a guess. Formation. She looked sideways at Jizun. Sister, Ji, the soul formation you were talking about, is this one? I think it is it. Jizun nodded. Only the breath was sensed, but no demon beast was seen. After hearing Bai Yining's reminder, Chen Qingyun slowed down his pace, controlled the Xuanwu puppet, and fled towards the place where the demon aura was diffused. I'll let the puppet go and take a look. The Xuanwu puppet moved slowly underground. As the demon aura became more and more dense, the answer also surfaced. As Bai Yining said, there was a formation located in a place they couldn't see, that is, More than 100 meters away. The formation has a hidden effect, covering a large area, so that people can't see the scene inside the formation from outside the formation, disguising it as an empty scene with sparse vegetation. The Zhuxiantu puppet did not rashly enter the formation. After exploring it, it returned, and Chen Qingyun told the four people the result. "Let me do it." Bei Yinying waved her hand, took out a formation flag magic weapon, and threw it forward. The formation flag magic weapon is called the Spirit Detection Formation Flag, which was carefully made by Bei Yinying. Although it is only a second-level upper grade, the effect is very practical. The soul-detecting array flag cannot launch attacks or defenses. When it comes into contact with arrays below the 4th level, it can read the operation rules and number of array symbols of the array, so as to achieve the effect of understanding the type of array. Combined with Bei Yinying's superb array attainments and vast cognitive reserves, it can guess what array it is in one fell swoop. The soul-detecting array flag flew out and slowly landed on the barrier of the soul array, and began to play its effect, recording some basic information of this array. Just a moment later, the soul-detecting array flag flew back to her hand. Bei Yinying read the information inside it and began to explore the principles and uses of the array. Seeing this, Jizun waited for a while and couldn't help asking, "How is it?" "It is the Lu Earth Soul Array. This array has reached the 3rd level upper grade. It is built with a 3rd level spiritual vein under the swamp's energy. Once a living being steps into it, it will immediately trigger the array attack. This attack only targets the soul of the living being." Bei Yinying thought about it and said in detail, "If you want to break the formation, you only need to cut off the key spiritual vein underground and solve the problem from the root. But, if you do this, it will inevitably cause the spiritual charm of this spiritual vein to be lost by 30% or 40%, which may trigger some chain reactions and eventually affect the entire swamp. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth contained in this swamp all comes from this underground spiritual vein." Jizun heard this and felt that this method was not appropriate, and asked, "Are there other ways to break the formation?" "To break the soul formation, it is best to use the earth attribute formation to overcome it, but the 3rd grade upper grade I don't have any of the above earth attribute formations. According to my guess, this Lu Earth Soul formation has probably already merged with the underground spiritual veins. Forcibly breaking the formation with the formation will result in the same result as cutting off the spiritual veins." Hearing this, Chen Qingyun suggested, "There is no need to break the formation. There must be a reason why this formation can be set up here. Let's not act rashly." "What about the Ice Soul Beast?" Chen Qingyun asked. The main purpose of this trip was to deal with the Ice Soul Beast. It was not a big problem to pick the longevity fruit in the formation. Because of its racial advantage, the Ice Soul Beast is not only not affected by the formation, but can use it to hunt. Bei Yinying said, "This beast is most likely living in the formation." Having understood the formation, the 5 decided not to delay any longer. "Let me try first." Chen Qingyun took the lead and directly released the 3 puppets of Zhuxiantu, Poseidon, and Fire God, and rushed towards the formation. The puppets touched the formation and went straight through. Instantly, the formation was activated, and the entire formation barrier, which was disguised to blend into the surrounding environment, was now rippling with light. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The entire formation vibrated 3 times in a row like a heartbeat. Chen Qingyun sensed through the puppets and felt that 3 sound wave-like attacks appeared one after another, directly hitting the 3 puppets of the sea god. This kind of soul attack, even if it was separated from Chen Qingyun by a formation, the residual power still acted on the connection of the mind. This time, Chen Qingyun felt that his soul was shaken, but it was only very slight. The puppet had no soul, so it was naturally not afraid and continued to sprint forward. At this time, the concealing effect of the formation had dissipated, revealing the true scene inside the formation. Everyone looked and could clearly see that in the center of the formation, there was a green pool of water, and in the center of the pool was a floating island. On the floating island, there is a huge green tree, with a crown like clouds, very majestic. and the whole body reaches a height of 100 meters. On the tree, there are 4 sky blue fruits, shaped like gourds, the size of a palm, which are the longevity fruits. The sea god puppet takes action, performs the wood magic, and 4 vines fly out of his hand, picking the 4 longevity fruits. This action of picking the fruit seems to be easy and smooth, and at this time, a beast roar is heard. Chapter 591 G-A. The yellow bird appears. A demon beast covered in snow swooped down from the dense branches of the longevity fruit tree and attacked the sea god puppet. It's the Ice Soul Beast. Ji-Zhen saw the Ice Soul Beast and flew a purple hairpin in her hand, hitting the Ice Soul Beast directly. The Ice Soul Beast was about the size of a tiger, with a white body, a lion-like head, horns on its head, strong and developed limbs, a narrow tail, and agile speed. At the same time, a light flashed in Liu Zilin's storage bag, and an ice talisman flew out of her hand to assist. Bai Yining was flexible and directly used the formation to fight against the formation, trying to play a role in countering the formation as much as possible. She waved her hand and played 6 formation flags, quickly arranged a set of the 3rd level top grade 8-sided sunflower water formation, using the power of sunflower water to temporarily weaken this soul formation, reducing its power by about 30%. As the 8-direction sunflower water formation was opened, a large area of sunflower water condensed and formed, pouring down from the center of the formation, covering the large formation barrier of the 6 combination Earth Soul formation, and the effect was immediate. Chen Xianmin used the purple fire golden knife, and the attack followed the purple hairpin magical weapon. As soon as it appeared, before it could pounce on the sea god puppet, the Ice Soul Beast was instantly attacked in many ways. It was not panicked at all, and immediately used one of its innate magical powers, the Ice Soul Phantom, and its body suddenly turned into 3, only the one on the far right was the real one. Rumble. The 2 false figures acted as an attraction, actively dissolving the attack, making the ice calming talisman and the purple hairpin hit in succession, and only freezing one side of the ground. The fiery sky sword was easily dodged by it. Chen Qingyun's expression moved, and the sea god puppet quickly evacuated with the longevity fruit, and the fire god and the black tortoise puppet fled underground. Roar. A huge roar sounded, and the Ice Soul Beast used its 2nd innate magical power. A beam of Ice Soul Divine Light suddenly appeared from its mouth and hit the ground where the black tortoise puppet disappeared. In the blink of an eye, the ground within a radius of 100 meters was frozen. The Ice Soul power contained in it was enough to kill any Purple Mansion cultivator who was touched by it. Fortunately, the puppet was not affected. Chen Xianming, Ji-Zhen, and Liu Zilin joined forces and each used their best moves to fight the enemy. First, the fire bag flew out, and a large amount of flames surged and swept towards the Ice Soul Beast. These attacks directly melted all the ice on the ground, leaving the Ice Soul Beast in a sea of fire. The purple hairpin and 3 3rd-level middle-grade fire bomb talismans were thrown out and hit the Ice Soul Beast in succession. The Ice Soul Beast had thick skin and good defense. It was still alive and kicking after these attacks, and continued to launch the Ice Soul Divine Light, hitting Chen Xianmin and the other 4 from a distance. 5 beams of Ice Soul Divine Light burst out, each locking onto one person. Defend. Liu Zilin was well prepared, and took out one of her best-known 3rd-grade spiritual talismans, the Holy Shield Talisman. With the golden light surging, a huge shield appeared, and suddenly protected several people. The Ice Soul Divine Light hit the shield and was blocked in one fell swoop. Chen Qingyun found the right opportunity, and the 3 puppets each performed fire magic, standing in 3 directions, and launched a fierce attack on the Ice Soul Beast. 3 flames roared through the air, as big as a bucket, and the powerful impact force was concentrated at one point, directly fixing the Ice Soul Beast in place, temporarily unable to move. The flame ring sun wheel flew in the air and further covered the Ice Soul Beast, making a hissing sound of roasting. Liu Zilin took advantage of the victory and attacked, playing a demon binding talisman, further binding the monster. A black gold flying blade was sacrificed, like golden light, slashing across the throat of the ice soul beast and cutting off the head of the monster. The 5 people worked together, and their strength was indeed strong enough to defeat all the participating cultivators in the Immortal Palace. But this ice soul beast was not weak either. It was already equal to the strength of a half-step golden elixir. If it was a little stronger, I am afraid that even the rules of the Immortal Palace would reject it and would not allow it to continue living here. However, no matter how powerful it was, it had not yet reached the golden elixir stage, and it was solved by the 5 people in less than an incense stick of time. After killing the ice soul beast, Chen Qingyun immediately finished the job, took out the monster's inner elixir, and put it directly into the storage bag. Seeing this, Bai Yining and Jizun did not speak, and let Chen Qingyun collect the spoils. Chen Qingyun quickly processed the claws, fur, etc. of the ice soul beast and collected the monster materials. Jizun began to explore the surroundings, looking for Ji-Sheng's bones. According to her memory, she soon crossed the pond and found something on the back of the longevity fruit tree. The former purple mansion Tanjiao of Yaoang Mountain has now turned into dry bones, sitting slumped against the tree trunk, holding a gourd magic weapon in his hand, which is very sad. Time is like a knife, killing Tanjiao. Which cultivator in the world dares to say that he can live forever with a world and see through the fate of the future? Life is not satisfactory in 9 out of 10 cases, and the world is impermanent. Brother, Jizun said lightly, her eyes sour, and she stepped forward to start collecting the remains. The memories of the past together came to her mind. The competition in Yaoang Mountain is fierce, and there are also many people who are hypocritical, and they are nothing more than driven by interests. Jizun has practiced for more than 100 years. In addition to her parents who have been in seclusion for many years, the only one who is really good to her is Ji-Sheng. The brother-sister relationship between the two is envied by outsiders. This is pure blood relationship. Chen Qingyun and the other 3 came forward, noticed this scene, sighed secretly, watched quietly for a while, and then shifted their attention to the surrounding pool. The longevity fruit tree has a huge demand for spiritual energy, and ordinary spiritual soil cannot supply it for growth. The water pool contains a kind of spiritual liquid, called Zhuan spiritual liquid, which is specially created to nourish this longevity fruit tree. Several people know the value of this thing, although they want to take some. Due to the special nature of Zhuan spiritual liquid, it cannot be exposed to fresh air from the outside world and can only play its effect in this demon god swamp. This limitation is also to prevent cultivators from collecting these spiritual liquids at will and hindering the growth of the longevity fruit tree. If it is useless to take it away, then don't take it, just leave it. After collecting her brother's remains, Jizun showed a look of relief and said to Chen Qingyun and the other 4 gratefully, "Thank you for your great assistance in this operation. I, Jizun, will remember your kindness today." "Well, fellow Taoist Ji, you are polite." Chen Qingyun nodded and responded. The other 3 people each said a few polite words, and then stood under the longevity fruit tree to look at it. Several people are interested in this kind of spiritual wood of heaven and earth. However, after a careful investigation, it was found that the tree was deeply rooted here, and it would be difficult to transplant it. Among the few people, only Jizun was an alchemist and knew some spiritual plants. She stepped forward to explore, and finally shook her head gently, telling him that this longevity fruit tree could not be transplanted. If he had to force it, it would only be a waste of natural resources. The 5 people had some regrets and gave up the idea of taking the longevity fruit tree away. Doing so would probably anger that he, so it would be better to be content. The longevity fruit was obtained, and the cooperation was completed. The 5 people were about to leave, and Chen Qingyun suddenly raised his eyebrows, looked in one direction, and said coldly, "Deu, have you seen enough?" Chapter 592. If you want to be the Oreo, you must have the ability to do so. In the direction Chen Qingyun was looking at, there was a figure hidden in an ancient tree far away, and the figure covered by the invisibility charm revealed its true body. Everyone present was not a simple person. They noticed Chen Qingyun's strangeness and followed his gaze. This time, I saw a familiar figure. Nangang, Yuang. Bai Yining's eyes narrowed, and she turned back to look at Chen Qingyun and the others. Seeing Nangong Yuang here, the result is self-evident. The other party must have come here for the longevity fruit. I am hiding in the tree like this, maybe I want the aureole behind me? At the same time, she was secretly surprised at Chen Qingyun's sensitivity and intelligence. Because even she didn't notice anything, Chen Qingyun was able to take the lead and find out the problem. This was not easy. What other extraordinary methods does King Feng's sixth brother hide? Seeing Nangong Yuang's appearance, Chen Xianming, Liu Zilin, and Jizun all became vigilant and gathered together. Under the gaze of several people, Nangong Yuang remained expressionless and his eyes fell firmly on the storage ring in Chen Qingyun's hand. He fell down without saying a word, and a 9-fire flame dragon ring rotated in the air behind him. 9 flame dragons flew around and surrounded him. The two sides faced off in a tacit understanding for more than 10 seconds. Chen Qingyun raised a smile on his lips and took the lead to break the silence. If you want to be an aureole, you have to see if you have the ability. Chen wants this longevity fruit. What advice does fellow Taoist Nangong have? If the other party was able to hide here, he must have witnessed them fighting the ice soul beast and picking the longevity fruit. There is nothing to guess about this. To be able to find out the opponent, Chen Qingyun still relied on his soul perception. Even if you can't use your spiritual consciousness, you can still detect this unusual movement. This is the power of the golden elixir stage soul. Facing the inquiry, Nangong Yuang's eyes flashed with divine light, and his aura was undisguised, showing off his peak state. But it was just a show, and he didn't take action rashly. After arriving here, I witnessed Chen Qingyun using a puppet to pick the longevity fruit, and then teamed up to kill the ice soul beast. That series of movements were smooth and flowing, and the powerful strength displayed instantly made him give up the idea of taking action. Under the gaze of everyone, Nangong Yuang remained silent, maintaining his unique aura, and looked directly at Chen Qingyun. After a brief period of silence, the number 1 Zaifu in the Xinghai actually chose to avoid its sharp edge, turned around and left the area, and quickly disappeared from sight. Seeing Nangong Yuang being knocked back, the 4 people present felt clear-headed and could not figure out the reason for this. Based on their respective starting points, the 4 of them thought that they were no match for Nangong. Hopeless. Even if they join forces, they don't have much chance of winning, and they can only end up with a 50-50 situation. What makes Nangong Yuang so fearful is the team strength of 5 people. This is naturally undeniable. But the most important thing is because of someone. Chen Qingyun. For a moment, all 4 people's eyes fell on Chen Qingyun. Chen Xianming felt a bit of pride for his younger generation in his heart, and asked while the iron was hot, "Qingyun, did you pocket the spirit tree earlier?" As soon as these words came out, Jizun and Bai Yining were extremely interested and pricked up their ears to listen. They had all heard that Taoist Qian, Han Wu, and Nangong Yuang had never fought fiercely for a single spirit. The end result is that this thing fell into the hands of outsiders. They guessed in their hearts that this outsider was most likely Chen Qingyun, and it might not be anyone else. Now, seeing that Nangong, who is arrogant and self-proclaimed king, has no hope of retreating and does not dare to compete with Chen Qingyun, the guess in his heart becomes more certain. It depends on whether Chen Qingyun admits it or not. Facing the old patriarch's inquiry, Chen Qingyun smiled and nodded lightly. Good. Just a simple response. Bai Yining and Jizun immediately couldn't help but take a deep breath, and looked at Chen Qingyun with even more admiration. Nangong Yuang has been famous for a long time, has been famous for hundreds of years, and enjoys the honor of being the number 1 purple mansion in Xinghai, not to mention how embarrassing it is. Now, he has been defeated by Chen Qingyun many times, and he doesn't even dare to let out a fart. Under such a contrast, how powerful is Chen Qingyun? The methods that we have witnessed together before are probably just the tip of the iceberg. After being shocked for a while, the 2 women came to their senses and didn't ask much. They just felt that Chen Qingyun was unfathomable, and his thoughts fell on the longevity fruit again. Nangong Yuang's appearance was just a small episode. As agreed, several people began to divide the longevity fruit. Chen Qingyun, Liu Zilin, Chen Xianming, and Bei Yining each received a longevity fruit. Since this fruit only works for monks below the golden core stage, the four of them decided to refine it immediately. This monster swamp happens to be a good place for retreat. The number of monks who can enter here, except for a few of them, can be counted on one hand. The immortal oath is still taking effect, so it won't cause internal strife, but it can be refined with peace of mind. Jizun acted as a protector and stood aside, paying attention to the surrounding disturbances. Chen Qingyun asked Chen Xianming, Liu Zilin, and Bei Yining to take it first, and then to himself last. 3 days later, the four of them finished refining the longevity fruit, adding 60 years to their lifespan. Among them, Chen Xianming's performance was the most obvious. His face became shiny and his whole face was rosy and lively. 60 years of life is not much, but for older monks, it is enough to reach the next great realm many times. Later, the five people carefully explored the demon god swamp and made some discoveries. In the central area of the swamp, they heard a huge roar of beasts that shook the world, causing all the surrounding monsters to crawl on the ground and tremble in fear. Even the monks from the Z mansion immediately trembled and felt fear when they heard the roar of the sky-shaking beast. Out of curiosity, the five people went to the center of the swamp to investigate. The closer they got, the more frightened they felt, as if there was a force that was repelling them to continue moving forward. Several people quickly thought of an existence, the demon god. If we say that the old immortal who appeared in the immortal mansion before was the origin of heavenly Tao in the immortal mansion, he said so. So is this unknown entity that roars a demon god? Whether it was true or not, the five wanted to investigate further. But soon, this soul-stirring power began to become more intense, as if it was issuing a warning. If he continued to cross the thunder pool for half a step, he would only end in death. This feeling was so strong that it penetrated deeply into his soul, instantly making Chen Qingyun stop in his tracks. The creature in the center of the swamp, isn't it a fourth-level monster? Chen Xianming swallowed, feeling timid for the first time, and not afraid of the jokes of the four juniors. He stopped moving forward. I don't know either. Jizun shook her head. There was no relevant record in the information she had. How could she know? Chapter 593, Killing to Gain Fame. The training is over. Bei Yining and Liu Zilin also shook their heads, involving cognitive blind spots. Such a powerful deterrent is far beyond what a monster in the Xifu stage can possess. At least it has reached the golden core stage. But aren't the golden elixir stage monsters unable to appear in the reclusive immortal mansion? This doubt arises in my mind, but it cannot be solved for the time being. The five of them decided whether to give in or give in. They stopped moving forward and headed to other areas of the swamp. During the next exploration, they waited for individual elixirs to reach maturity before picking them individually. There are also many first-level and second-level elixirs here, most of which are guarded by monsters. The five people often fought against monsters and beasts to extract elixirs, and half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Except for the central area of the swamp that I didn't set foot in, I went back and forth in other areas. During this period, they had been paying attention to the unknown entity in the center of the swamp. Unfortunately, there had been no movement since that time. The other party's appearance seemed to wake up from a long sleep, and then stretched. He roared, and just such an action shocked everyone present. The opportunity came, and without any further delay, the five of them left this forbidden place together to avoid any complications. In the foggy area, the figures of five people emerged. After landing, the Zhuxiantu jade sword disappeared. There was only one chance to enter and exit, and it could not be used twice. In the surrounding fog, there is a figure dormant, paying attention to what is going on here. This time, a total of 9 people received the Immortal Mansion Jade Sword. The other 4 people are Nangong Yuang, Sun Zongxian, Han Wu, and Taoist Qian. These 4 people had long known the secrets of the demon god swamp from their family leader, and knew that there was an immortal fruit tree in it. But the specific situation is unknown, and you need to find out for yourself. Quite literally. One of the 4 longevity fruits was produced after 60 years. The Hermitage Fairy Mansion had to be opened 4 times before anyone could pick the longevity fruit. You can imagine how difficult it was. If Chen Qingyun didn't have a puppet by his side, he could firmly restrain the Ice Soul Beast and still not be attacked by the Soul Formation. Otherwise, Jizun and the others still cannot get the longevity fruit. Before Chen Qingyun and the other 5, Sun Zhuxian and the other 4 had each entered the Demon God Swamp and saw the longevity fruit tree. Although it was a heart-stopping moment at the time, they all realized that they were not strong enough to get even the slightest bit of help. Whether life is more important or the longevity fruit is more important, there is no need to think about it. In the end, the 4 of them each gave up and came out of the Demon God Swamp with the Danny, so that they would not return empty-handed. How did they get together? The Taoist Qion's eyes were sharp and he saw Chen Qingyun and the other 5 people coming out of the Kraken space safely. It's not good. They must have picked the longevity fruit. The Taoist Qion was a little angry and wanted to go forward immediately to find out. But thinking of Chen Qingyun's strong move to snatch the soul wood before, he immediately gave up the idea. Chen Qingyun is unfathomable, and Elder Liu and Chen Xianming are on his side. The 3 of them have long been in the same camp. That Jizun and Bai Yinying probably reached a cooperation with them and obtained the longevity fruit together. It's better to cooperate with Chen Qingyun in advance. Why didn't I take advantage of it before? Otherwise, I would also have a share of the longevity fruit. The Taoist Qion thought to himself. The more he thought about it, the more pity he felt. Why didn't I realize Chen Qingyun's powerful strength before? Now it's good. If you haven't gotten the fruit, I guess it already has an owner. Compared with Qion Taoist, Nangong Yuang, Han Wu and Sun Zhuxian left the foggy area early to collect opportunities in the 5 elements spiritual realm. At this time, Chen Qingyun noticed Taoist Qion's aura, and when he saw that the other party did not come forward, he left quickly, and a smile could not help but appear on his lips. From now on, if you meet a Qion Taoist again, the other person will probably be extremely jealous, and your reputation has been established. The experience of the Immortal Mansion has reached this point, and it is also announced that it is coming to an end. According to the content of the agreement, the 5 people divided the spoils, each kept each other's trump card secret, and strictly abided by the content of the agreement. As this cooperation came to a successful conclusion, Bai Yinying and Jizun left one after another and went to join their fellow students. At this stage of progress, the origin of the Black Spirit has not yet been investigated, so that not one of the spiritual beasts of the same race has been seen. This makes Chen Qingyun curious. Where did Nangong Yuang get the Black Spirit from? First of all, we can't eliminate the core of the Immortal Mansion, because in the last term, Nangong Yuang did not set foot there. Is that the outskirts of the Immortal Mansion? Or Ghostwind Dale? You can't ask Nangong Yuang for this answer. Could it be that the origin of Muling could only become a mystery, or would the answer be found only by going to the Immortal Palace outside the territory? The more Chen Qingyun thought about it, the more he felt that it was a very wise choice to choose the place in the Immortal Palace at that time. This foreign fairy palace must be visited in the future. When the time comes, at least the Golden Core stage monks will be involved. In the follow-up time, Chen Qingyun and the others went to the outer areas of the Immortal Mansion for activities, waiting for the Immortal Mansion to open. Due to the 3-person team and Chen Qingyun's reputation, no one dared to compete wherever they went, and they all stayed away. In other parts of the Immortal Mansion, the fighting is still going on. It can be said that Yan is very vindictive. During this time, he has begun to unite with his fellow sects to pursue Zhong Yingxing. The master of Dankan Island, whose own skills were restricted by the rules of the Immortal Palace, had his Wind and Thunder Eagle's combat power greatly reduced. He was also besieged by Yan's 6 fellow monks. He fled for only a few days before being killed in the Water Spirit Realm, and his treasures were divided up. Yan successfully retrieved the stolen Phantom Beast's true spirit. Time flies, and the time for training is up. On this day, The rules of the Immortal Palace began to show a repulsive force, automatically wrapping up the monks distributed in various parts of the Immortal Palace and teleporting them to the direction of the Yunzong Immortal Gate. Knowing that the time was up and they could no longer stay, most of the monks were reluctant to leave and allowed themselves to be teleported outside the Immortal Gate. A small number of monks cheered and were excited. They had long wanted to leave this place. Because of their low strength, they were regarded as fish. Now they finally got some treasures. They had to digest them well after going out and stay in seclusion for a few more years. Outside the Immortal Palace, on the flying boats of the 5 major sects. Taoist He, Granny Wu Su, the old man surnamed Ru and 6 other giant and cultivators calculated the time and waited here a few days in advance. It's over. It's finally over. The first cultivator walked out of the Yunzong Xianmen, got rid of the rules of the Xianfu, set up a gourd magic weapon and flew into the air, landed on the flying boat of Yaoang Mountain, and greeted Granny Wu Su. This person is a casual cultivator. In the first 2 years, he was full of excitement and experienced in the secluded Xianfu, and he was quite popular. In the following year, he tasted the danger of the foggy area. The selected fellows were more powerful than each other, and gradually felt that they were unable to do it, and they belonged to the bottom. If he hadn't been hiding at the end, and avoided the cultivators as far as possible, he might not have been able to complete this experience. There are not a few like him. At this time, like wild horses running away from the reins, they left the Yunzong Xianfu one by one, set up sword lights and landed on the flying boats of the 5 major sects. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 594, All Eyes Are on the Dark Horse. Haha, compared to last time, how many juniors will return triumphant this time? It's really exciting. Lao Dao stroked the beard on his chin and chuckled, looking at the figures flying out of Yunzong Xianmen, paying attention to the number of his sect's disciples. I calculated that there must be 50 people this time. We lose a lot of people every time through training. These are the elites of our Xinghai. The old man surnamed Ru said, showing a look of pain. There's no need to be pretentious. There's nothing to regret. Grandma Wu Su held her cane and gave the old man surnamed Ru a blank look. The edge of a sword is sharpened. If you don't go through these tests, how can you cultivate a strong man who protects the Sea of Stars? You and I have come this way. We didn't suppress the leaders of our peers back then. I'm an old man, but I still clearly remember that in the wood spirit realm, you were so majestic that you even dared to snatch the wood spirit essence water that I already had. You really don't have any mercy at all. As soon as Granny Wu Su opened her mouth, the old man surnamed Ru was immediately speechless and had to laugh a few times and stop talking. This happened back then. Even if he failed to snatch the wood spirit essence water from Grandma Wu Su in the end, he was still beaten to death and almost capsized in the sewer. But it's been more than 200 years, and the other party still hasn't forgotten why the other party holds such a grudge. A stick of incense. Time passed, and Chen Qingyun and the others began to leave the Immortal Mansion, set foot on the flying boat in Lingbao Mountain, and successfully completed this experience. The 3-year experience is finally over. Chen Qingyun, that kid is out. Seeing Chen Qingyun's appearance, Patriarch Zhu looked pleased and couldn't help but admire him. He would be the first one to step into the ring of clouds. Neither you nor I expected this. Patriarch Liang, who was on the side, paid attention to Chen Qingyun's figure, nodded, and acknowledged, it is true that young people are formidable. Maybe we can really put our hope in him. We have not misjudged the person. In the early days of the Escape World Immortal Mansion, it was under the control of Xingzong, who set up formations and banned methods. In fact, they also reserved methods. It can detect which monks have entered the foggy area, the ring cloud layer, and the core of the Immortal Mansion first. This will also make it easier for the 5 major sects to grasp this information immediately and know who has the greatest potential and deserves the most attention. At that time, Chen Qingyun and 5 others crossed the foggy area and were among the first batch of people to set foot there. Chen Qingyun walked in the front, followed closely by the other 4, Chen Xianming, Liu Zilin, Bai Yining and Ji Zhen, who also received the attention of Patriarch Zhu's golden elixirs. However, they could only see them stepping onto the ring-shaped clouds through the Star Sect's magical sky viewing mirror and the communication formation. It is not known exactly what magical powers were used and what trump cards were revealed, so they were kept secret. Very good. Seeing Liu Zilin appear, Gong Yufan praised him and looked at Chen Qingyun and Chen Xianming, who also nodded slowly in approval. You did a good job. Naturally, he had heard the rumors between Chen Qingyun and Liu Zilin, and knew that the two would become a Taoist couple. Several other giant and monks also paid attention to Chen Qingyun at this time, secretly taking note of such a rising star, and became the focus of attention for a while. In more than 10 years, it is estimated that Chen Qingyun will be on an equal footing with them and call each other Taoist friends instead of seniors. This time, Chen Qingyun has become famous and has a sense of presence in front of all the golden elixir monks. As more and more monks left the Immortal Mansion, they each set up their sword lights and landed on the flying boat. Bailian, Su Yan, Sun Zongxian, Hongrai Taoist, Dian, Lingxi, Sun Tai, etc. all appeared one after another. Some were happy and some were sad. Seeing Chen Qingyun, Lingxi gritted her teeth secretly, wondering why she didn't meet him again in the fairy mansion. Otherwise she would have to give him some color. When Sun Tai saw Chen Qingyun, he paid attention secretly, and his eyes soon fell on Nangong Yuang. He still gritted his teeth against this enemy and wanted to avenge his tribe. Nangong Yuang himself, relying on his own fame, is still one of the focus of attention, and his eyes are on Chen Xianming from time to time. When Chen Xianming chose Snow Spirit Immortal Dew, Nangong Yuang clearly remembered this. Sensing Nangong Yuang's gaze, Chen Xianming looked back, attracting the other party's gaze without any intention of retreating. It wasn't until Chen Qingyun glanced sideways and met Nangong Hopeless's gaze that the other party restrained his movements and looked away with a frown. Among the others, Bai Yining saw Chen Qingyun and the others appeared and nodded in greeting from a distance. The same was true for Ji Zhen, who was quite polite out of respect for their strength. Taoist Qian, who was riding in the same boat, saw Chen Qingyun at this time. He walked up to him from a long distance away and greeted with a smile, "Fellow Taoist Chen, you are the most majestic." Mr. Qian has long disliked Nangong Yuang. "I am so proud every day that I feel like I am growing taller. This time, you made him suffer a big loss. It's really satisfying. I'm determined to make you my friend." No matter whether Chen Qingyun wanted it or not, the Taoist took a selfie and said with his chest, "If you need anything in the future, you can come to Lingbao Mountain to find me. I will do my best and won't let you down." Qian, Dao people were smarter. They were the first to retreat and did not participate in the battle for the Spirit Wood, but they did not leave completely. Instead, they secretly cooperated with Han Wu and left a dozen Gu insects to observe the follow-up situations of Chen Qingyun and Nangong Wuo to see who was better. The result was a bit shocking for the two of them, because they saw Nangong Yuang turned around and retreated. That was so fast. It was also because of this that the two of them spread the news later, in order to wear down Nangong Yuang's arrogance, and spread that someone had taken the spirit wood from him. This is how the world of immortal cultivation is. If one's strength is recognized by others, it will attract a lot of flatterers and flatterers. Taoist Qian is not weak in strength, and Chen Qingyun doesn't dislike him for this straightforward character, and because he is from the same lineage as Liu Zilin, he will naturally not reach out to hit a smiling person. After a few simple polite words, Taoist Qian retreated to the side. Seeing this, the other Lingbao Mountain cultivators developed a furor admiration for Chen Qingyun. Even the top purple mansion in their own family flattered Chen Qingyun so much,
What this means can be imagined. Taoist He and the old man surnamed Ru talked to fulfill the previous bet. He laid out bet that Nangong Yuang would be the first to step into the ring-shaped cloud layer, and the old man surnamed Drew bet that it would not be Nangong Yuang. This time, it was naturally the old man surnamed Drew who won, and he took the bet reward with a smile, and got the Tandi Liang Yi ring from He Laodao. He, Laodao, baby, I will accept it with pleasure, ha ha ha. Having won the bet, the old man surnamed Ru smiled happily. Unexpectedly, this time there really was a dark horse, and his eyes intentionally or unintentionally glanced in the direction of Chen Qingyun. He Laodao, who was willing to accept the loss of the bet, could only blow his beard and glare at this time. Chapter 595, Sea Boundary, Preparation for Dan Formation. Soon, everyone came out. A total of 39 people. From the initial 119 participants to the current number of people who came out, the rest who did not come out, such as Zhong Yingxing, individual cultivators, etc., all died in the immortal mansion. The great Tao is ruthless, and the competition on the road of cultivation is often so cruel. No strong man can be cultivated from a greenhouse, and no giant and cultivator will be a simple person. On the Hunyuan Island, He Laodao looked left and right, until the Yunzong Immortal Gate closed, the clouds began to disappear, and returned to heaven and earth, and Zhu Ziheng did not come out, and his originally bitter face became even more depressed. This time it was really off the mark. Not only did the magic weapon bet lose to Ru Hasheng and lost its prestige, but even its own giant and Dao seeds were lost in the immortal mansion. This is really annoying. Everyone has arrived. The six great giant greeted a few times, and without waiting for everyone to sigh, they started to set sail to return to the Star Sea together. Time passed unnoticed on the sea. 1 month later, Chen Qingyun, Chen Xianming, and Liu Zilin temporarily settled in Lingbao Mountain. All three of them gained a lot from this trip to the Immortal Palace. Chen Qingyun alone obtained the golden source fruit, purple monkey flower, six-winged miasma bee, fire pattern ganoderma, longevity fruit, etc. For Liu Zilin, the wood-born pearl was extremely precious. As for Chen Xianming, he had the snow-speared fairy dew. The next day, Liu Zilin stayed in Lingbao Mountain, and Chen Qingyun and the others set off together to return to Lingjian Island. Because Chen Qingyun had a reputation for killing, almost no one in the Purple Palace period could think of themselves as his opponent. So how could they dare to think of killing people and stealing treasures? The old patriarch acted calmly, taking Chen Qingyun to travel on the sea, deliberately taking a detour to avoid being followed. Then he used the Mirage Pearl to cover his figure, took the teleportation array to arrive at the inner Star Sea, and then returned to Lingjian Island safely. After 3 years, he returned to the family and immediately alarmed Chen Daoren, Chen Qingyun and others, who came out to greet him. Clan leader Qingyun, you are back. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Chen Dalin, Chen Qingfeng and others came to celebrate this triumphant return. After not seeing each other for 3 years, they were concerned about the status of Chen Qingyun and the others, and they were extremely curious about the experience of the Immortal Palace. Chen Qingfeng wanted to learn more about it and broaden his horizons. Qingyun, clan leader, what is this secluded Immortal Palace like? Is it really full of opportunities? Can you tell us about it? Chen Qingfeng said with anticipation. Uncle Qingfeng, they just came back from a long journey, and their butts haven't even warmed up yet. They should rest first. It's not too late to ask tomorrow. Chen Qingyun said, you'd better not ask now. Chen Qingfeng touched his head embarrassedly. That's right, then let's talk about it tomorrow. They all went back to their rooms to rest. At night, the new moon was high. Chen Qingyun began to sort out the harvests of this trip to the Immortal Palace. Golden origin fruit, purple monkey flower, fire pattern ganoderma lucidum, six-winged miasma cloud bee, yinsheng tree, fantasy beast spirit, gold ore, demon pill, longevity fruit, fairy palace quota, pill mud, etc. As for spiritual medicine,
purple monkey flower can be exchanged for the family to be used to refine foundation building pill. Chen Qingyun kept the other spiritual medicines for himself. Yin Xing tree. The planting condition of this thing is that it cannot see the sun. The Fudasu and Lingjian Islands do not meet the planting conditions for the time being. Chen Qingyun decided to take it back to Zhenhai Island and plant it next to the spiritite tree. Those fantasy beast spirits, wood charm spirits, water spirits and earth spirits can be collected in the Danshan for a long time and can also be taken out. Chen Qingyun took out 4 condensed jade bottles, divided them in order, and kept them for future use in refining the natal magic weapon. 6 Winged miasma bees. Chen Qingyun has been paying attention to their dynamics for more than a year, often picking flowers and plants for them to collect honey manually, and they have become a little familiar with Chen Qingyun. Now, they have migrated to the Blessed Land bead, built a nest next to the jade bee, and are busy all day long. Chen Qingyun plans to try to tame them after forming the elixir, and then use the ancient white stone to optimize the bloodline. But now is not the time. The last thing worth paying attention to is the quota for the fairy palace. Chen Qingyun took out the fairy palace scroll, and after unfolding it, it was painted with a huge fairy palace suspended in the air, surrounded by white clouds and fairy air, extremely solemn and majestic. The divine consciousness was injected into this scroll, and some words emerged. After a while, Chen Qingyun understood the general situation. The outer fairy palace is located in an area located in the boundary sea. It is opened every 200 years. It is not stated when it was last opened, so you need to inquire about it yourself. Fortunately, the entry quota is in hand. When the time comes, as long as the instructions of this scroll are followed, this outer fairy palace can be found and directly entered. Where is the boundary sea? Is it the world outside the 10,000 monsters sea? There is no introduction to the sea area in the information I can access now. It's a bit of a headache. I know where the outer fairy palace is, but I don't know where the boundary sea is. For the cognition of this world, the farthest place Chen Qingyun knows is the 10,000 monsters sea. There is obviously a cognitive gap here. At least that's what the world data recorded by the Chen family is written like this, and only this little is recorded. To understand the truth of the world and what is outside the 10,000 monsters sea, you may have to start from the star sect. As the strength increases, the stronger the cultivators you come into contact with, these cognitive gaps will be gradually made up, step by step. The next day, after Chen Qingyun and the others rested, they began to gather with the family cultivators to tell the general process of this trip to the fairy palace. Strong men gathered, including Nangong Yuang, Jizun and others, competing in all directions. This made Chen Dailin and others excited, and they were also worried about the experience of Chen Qingyun and the others in the past 3 years. Under such a big competition, it is not easy to complete the training, but fortunately they all returned safely. This chat lasted for a day and a night. Chen Xianming briefly asked about the recent status of the family and the changes in the past 3 years. After he had a bottom line in his heart, he finally began to feel at ease to form the elixir. That's right, it's to form the elixir. Since getting the snow spirit fairy dew, Chen Xianming has been thinking about forming the elixir as soon as possible. Not only can his own strength be greatly improved, but more importantly, he can raise the Chen family to the level of a golden elixir family in one fell swoop. This is the first golden elixir family in Xingsha Islands. Patriarch, I am also going to retreat to form the elixir. After continuing Chen Xianming, Chen Qingyun didn't want to delay, and said with a smile, which aroused Chen Dailin and others. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Chen Daoran laughed loudly, feeling particularly happy. Just focus on forming the elixir. The Chen family should give birth to 2 golden elixir ancestors. This is something we have been looking forward to for a long time. Yes, clan leader, Qingyun, you can just retreat without distraction. In the next few years, the family will continue to be managed by us. I am looking forward to our family giving birth to golden elixir cultivators. How glorious it will be then. Chen Qingfeng was also moved and looked forward to it. Chapter 596, Dan condensation. Strange phenomena appear in heaven and earth. In order to prepare for the retreat, Chen Xianmin explained some family affairs, and Chen Daoran and Chen Dalan continued to temporarily manage the family to maintain development. On Chen Qingyun's side, he first exchanged some spiritual medicines for the family and gained some merits. Then he went back to Zhenhai Island and planted the Yingxing tree in the underground cave, next to the Spirit Eye tree. After returning to Lingjian Island, Chen Qingyun stayed on Lingjian Island to practice temporarily. Chen Qingyun also took out the Danny and asked his sister to bathe and soak during this time to nourish her body. On this day, he told several senior members of the family about his ideas, and kept secrets and protected the law. All the family members were withdrawn in the past few days. The Kailan, the demon-killing cannon, and even the puppet beasts were all on standby on the island, ready to play the role of law protectors to resist the prying of outsiders. On the morning of that day, Chen Xianmin and Chen Qingyun entered the retreat room in the back mountain of the family under the watchful eyes of more than a dozen family monks. According to the spiritual vein grade of Lingjian Island, it is enough for 2 cultivators to form a pill. 12 puppets, including Bang, Jiuyu, Haitian, and Huashan, were all stationed outside the retreat room, and Chen Qingyun began his first pill formation career. A large number of demon pills were taken out, 16,000 first-level demon pills, 500 second-level demon pills, and 5 third-level demon pills. These are enough to condense the power of all demons and use them to impact the bottleneck of the Jiandan period, not to mention the demon pills obtained in the Immortal Mansion. According to the practice method of Dawang swallowing demon art, Chen Qingyun took the lead in absorbing the first-level demon pills. The higher the grade of the demon pill, the more precious it is. Under the refining of the art, with the assistance of the purple and green divine flame, the first-level demon pill that usually takes half a year to refine only took 3 months for Chen Qingyun. 500 second-level demon pills took a month. 5 third-level demon pills, only 2 need to be refined, and the family gave 3 more. After refining the demon pill for more than half a year, Chen Qingyun first condensed the power of all demons into a stream of demon power. Under the operation of the technique, he began to open up acupoints in the body and open up the potential of the human body. The so-called Dan formation requires 1 step at a time and needs to be gradual. There are 3 steps in total. The first step is to open up 108 acupoints to lay the foundation for Dan formation. After that, the second step is to further compress, temper and condense the purple mansion true essence into the purest spiritual essence, called Jiandan Dan liquid. At this time, Dan formation is half successful. The third step is to condense the essence of Dan liquid into the original Jiandan. From then on, the Jiandan is completed and it is considered a real Jiandan cultivator. The whole Dan formation process seems simple, with only 3 steps. In addition to the relatively simple first step, the second step of tempering the purple mansion true essence is much more difficult. For every 10 cultivators who form Dan, at least 5 will get stuck at this step. The third step is to condense the golden elixir, which is more difficult, with only about 1 in 20 success rates. The first step of opening up the acupoints in the human body is basically not difficult for purple mansion cultivators. Chen Qingyun spent another half a year to successfully open up the acupoints he needed one by one. Then came the second step, to refine the purple mansion true essence, which is to flow the true essence into the newly opened acupoints little by little when it circulates along the great Zhuxian root, stimulate the potential of the human body, and strengthen the spirit. Finally, communicate the upper, middle, and lower 3 dansans, and refine the purple mansion true essence into the original essence. This step is slightly more difficult, and half of the cultivators will get stuck here. It tests the strength of the cultivator's soul and body. It is worth mentioning that the stronger the soul, the more advantages you can have in this step. You can directly use the power of the soul to assist in tempering, which is like opening a cheat. Chen Qingyun's soul has reached the middle stage of the golden elixir. From the perspective of the soul, it can be said that he is already a golden elixir cultivator. It only took 2 months, about 3 times faster than other cultivators, To complete the refinement of the purple mansion true essence and turn it into a golden elixir. The last crucial step for the formation of the golden elixir is when the power of the 10,000 demons plays a leading role. In the world of immortal cultivation, wood spirit essence water, warm sun water jade, and snow spirit fairy dew are used to form the elixir. The role that these three spiritual objects can play is to quickly and steadily fuse the elixir liquid and shape the shape when the elixir liquid is condensed into a golden elixir. This kind of assistance can protect the taoist meridians of the cultivator and greatly increase the success rate of forming the elixir. This is the most reliable method of forming the elixir. The effect of condensing the power of the 10,000 demons to form the elixir with the great wilderness swallowing demon art is actually very similar to that of forming the elixir with the snow spirit fairy dew, with little difference. The power of the 10,000 demons gathered and turned into a trickle, wrapping the elixir liquid. Chen Qingyun mobilized the power of the 10,000 demons and began to slowly fuse with the elixir liquid. This process generally lasts about 2 years. It is worth mentioning that although the power of various demon pills is gathered, it is numerous and complex, and the power attributes are also different. However, under the neutralization and conditioning of the exercises, the power of these demon pills has formed a compatible whole and will not repel each other, which is somewhat similar to the pill mud. The success rate of condensing the golden pill with the power of all demons is about 80%. And the effect is better than the snow spirit fairy dew. Since there is still a golden source fruit on the body, which can increase the success rate by another 10%, Chen Qingyun took out the golden source fruit early. The demon pill worth millions of spirit stones is a generous gift from the family. If the pill fails this time, all efforts will be in vain. Not only Chen Qingyun himself is distressed, but the family will also feel sorry. The earnest hope of the clan members. The family's longing for a golden elixir cultivator. His determination to embark on the golden elixir path. This made Chen Qingyun determined and he planned to make the greatest effort to complete this elixir formation. The golden source fruit was suspended in front of him. The fruit was only the size of an orange and golden in color. Chen Qingyun began to refine and absorb the essence of the spiritual fruit. The essence of the spiritual fruit flowed into the body, wandering in the meridians, acupoints, and the three danshan of upper, middle and lower, and began to assist the elixir liquid to condense. Dong dong dong. Soon, Chen Qingyun felt his heartbeat speed up, faster and faster, his blood and qi were slowly boiling, and his mind became extremely hot. This is the normal performance of condensing the golden elixir. In the continuous condensation process, the power of the 10,000 demons and the elixir liquid continued to interweave and merge, as if presenting a picture of a Taikai diagram, each occupying about half. From the lower danshan to the middle danshan, and then to the upper danshan, and so on, until the prototype of the golden elixir was condensed. Just like this, slowly and steadily, as time went by, 2 years passed, and the two forces finally merged completely together. The golden elixir condensed into a prototype, round and incomparable. At this time, some abnormal movements appeared in the surrounding heaven and earth. A huge vortex of spiritual energy gathered out of thin air and began to appear above the cave, covering the heaven and earth. Chapter 597. The whole clan is excited. One family has 2 golden elixirs. The vision of heaven and earth appears, and at this stage, it has been 90% successful. Then absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to fill the golden elixir and complete the final finishing work. Chen Qingyun formed an elixir for the first time and was completely immersed in it. Naturally, he had no idea how big a commotion he would cause due to the strange phenomena in the world he had caused. At this time, Chen Qingyun transformed into a bottomless pit, extremely thirsty for spiritual energy, and just wanted to absorb it like crazy. The golden elixir continued to condense into substance, and he did not hesitate to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathered above the cave, like a long whale absorbing water. In an instant, not only the entire Spirit Sword Island, but also an extremely huge spiritual energy vortex quickly formed in the hundreds of miles of sea area surrounding the island. Chen Qingyun's magic power is already very strong, and his soul has surpassed the Xifu stage. This time, he absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to fill the golden elixir, and the amount required was far 3 times that of his fellow cultivators. Such a large-scale absorption of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth naturally alarmed the entire Lingjian Island monks, and even Chen Xianming, who was in retreat, was attracted. Unfolding his consciousness, he swept around and captured the movement caused by Chen Qingyun. Chen Xianming couldn't help shouting excitedly. The vision of heaven and earth is the vision of heaven and earth caused by the formation of pills. Ha 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 ha, okay, okay. The old patriarch laughed heartily. Our Chen clan is about to welcome its first golden elixir cultivator. Ancestors and clans, have you seen it? This son is the senior member of our family. His name is Chen Qingyun. He is a good boy. The Kylin son of my clan. The excitement in his heart made Chen Xianming smile. At the same time, Chen Qingyun, Chen Dailin and others were also attracted by this vision of heaven and earth. They set up their swords and gathered outside the retreat cave where Chen Qingyun was. It's been 3 years. Is Qingyun going to succeed in forming the elixir? Chen Qingyun couldn't hide the joy on his face. He stared at the huge spiritual energy vortex in the sky and felt a sense of pride in his heart. This is the Chen clan's immortal clan forming elixirs. Yes, of course it is. Qingyun can actually form a pill before the clan leader. This qualification is really amazing. Chen Dailin sighed. With such a majestic whirlpool of spiritual energy, after Qingyun formed the pill this time, his strength must be far superior to that of monks of the same level. This is amazing. Chen Qingfeng, Chen Qingling, Chen Nianlong, and even young virtuous people were all attracted. Although they have never experienced what it feels like to form a pill, they have learned about the entire process of forming a pill early. The strength of the condensed golden elixir can be inferred through the intensity range of the heaven and earth phenomena. In short, to put it bluntly, the greater the momentum of the vision of heaven and earth, the more powerful the power of the golden elixir will be. Third sister, what is that? A new generation of Xianzi monks raised their heads, pointed at the huge vortex of spiritual energy in the air, and asked in surprise. It's so big. It's so big. Chen Nianlong's face showed admiration and pride as he said, "Now Xianbing, you have to watch out. It's your 6th grandfather who is forming the elixir." Wow, pill formation. When Chen Xianbing heard this, he opened his mouth in surprise. In the past, I had only seen the pill-forming monks in books. Is this a member of the family about to be born? The little girl suddenly became excited. Without noticing any movement from the outside world, the process of absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth lasted for 3 days. As the last spiritual energy of heaven and earth was absorbed into the body, it was filled with golden elixir. The power of the entire golden elixir skyrocketed, making a sound like a dragon roaring and a tiger roaring, and a dazzling golden light lit up, like a blazing little sun. A powerful aura surged out from it and swept around, rolling up dust in a mighty manner. The pill formation was successful, and Chen Qingyun's mana increased 3.5 times than before. The intensity of his spiritual consciousness reached an astonishing 60,000 meters, which was 10,000 meters more than the range of Baoang and Jiuyu's spiritual consciousness. This is very powerful, because only ordinary late-stage Jiandan monks can reach this range of spiritual consciousness. In addition, in terms of longevity, by superimposing it on the original basis, it directly reaches 800 years, which is equivalent to extending the lifespan by more than 400 years. Feeling the powerful power in the body, far beyond the Zaifu period, reaching a new level of cognition. Chen Qingyun opened his eyes, and there was a blazing golden light in his eyes, which almost condensed into substance. Once the golden elixir Dao was completed, Chen Qingyun's whole temperament changed, becoming more powerful and fierce, and his eyes looked bright and bright. Just from the aspect of temperament, people can tell that he is extraordinary at a glance, like the real dragon dormant in the sea, full of supreme majesty. Ha ha ha, the golden elixir stage is done. The realm he once dreamed of finally came true today. Chen Qingyun felt extremely happy and couldn't help but hold his head up and laugh. The great success of the golden elixir, which I had only seen in novels in my previous life,
is now experienced by myself. The excitement are simply indescribable. I have struggled in this world and practiced hard for decades, and today I finally made some achievements and became a strong person. The spiritual energy vortex dissipated, and the spiritual energy on Lingjian Island gradually recovered, returning to its former appearance. Chen Qingyun walked out of the retreat room in high spirits, and many people had gathered outside. Qingyun is out. Congratulations on the success of the golden elixir. Congratulations. Ha 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 ha. Our Chen family has a golden elixir ancestor. Am I not dreaming? After Chen Qingyun came out, he was surrounded by all the tribesmen like stars holding the moon in their arms. The atmosphere was particularly festive. Compared with the Chen family's promotion to the Purple Mansion family, Chen Qingyun's achievements at this moment were much more exciting. In the next month, the cultivation atmosphere on the entire Lingjian Island was unprecedentedly strong. Clan members often visited Chen Qingyun to meet the first giant ancestor of the family, and presented gifts to express their feelings and congratulate. Chen Qingyun greeted these social etiquettes in the family with a smile. Chen Qingyun, who was far away in Zhenhai Island, Chen Qingning, and Chen Douhianbai all heard the news and came back to celebrate. After learning the good news of Chen Qingyun's Dan formation, Liu Zilin immediately put down her affairs and came to visit the Chen family. She talked with Chen Qingyun all night long, and the two were inseparable. Chen Qingyun's enthusiasm did not diminish. Half a month later, Chen Xianming's Dan formation process was particularly smooth with the help of the snow-speared fairy dew. There was also movement above Chen Xianming's retreat room on this day, and a large area of spiritual energy vortex gathered. From the size of the spiritual energy vortex, although it is not as huge as the one caused by Chen Qingyun, it is also comparable to 2/3 of the area. Oh, my God, the strange phenomenon of heaven and earth reappears, and the clan leader is also going to form a golden elixir. Great, great. Let's go and see. The golden elixir phenomenon lasted for 3 whole days. Not long after, a sound of dragon roar and tiger roar sounded from the closed-door room, accompanied by a long laugh that shook the sky, which was particularly hearty and heroic. After Chen Qingyun, Chen Xianming successfully formed a golden elixir and became the second golden elixir cultivator of the Chen family. The Chen family is now a double golden elixir cultivator. Chapter 598 Family Status, Millions of Assets. Such a great progress, the birth of 2 giant cultivators, for a time, made the whole Lingjian Island explode and boil. In the family hall, a large family meeting was held, jointly initiated by Chen Dailin, Chen Daoran, and Chen Qingfeng. Chen Xianming and Chen Qingyun came to participate, and all the cultivators of the family gathered together. The birth of 2 giant cultivators in the family made the atmosphere of the family meeting extremely hot, and the family members were excited. Everyone talked and laughed, and the atmosphere was harmonious. After sharing the joy of Jiandan, Chen Xianming, for the sake of family consideration, began to ask about the development of the family over the years. In the family, now that Qingyun and I have successfully formed the elixir, our Chen family has been promoted to a golden elixir family. In the entire Inner Star Sea, following the Wang family and the Wen family, we belong to the 3rd golden elixir family. The future development of this family should also be discussed carefully. Qingyun and I participated in the journey to the secluded Immortal Palace, and then we retreated for 3 years. In these 6 years, the various developments of the family, population, number of cultivators, industrial scale, etc., will be discussed in this family meeting. Chen Xianming looked at Chen Dailin and Chen Daoran and smiled faintly. In the past few years, the family has been carefully managed by Dailin and Daoran. Thank you for your hard work. Let's talk about the current situation of the family first. Okay, I'll talk about it first. Chen Dailin nodded with a smile. He was well prepared for this and began to talk slowly. In the past 6 years, first of all, in terms of family population, we have continuously intermarried with the Zhang family, Sicha family, Yan family, Yang family and other families to encourage childbirth. The total population of the family has exceeded 50,000 a year ago. Secondly, the number of cultivators has increased by dozens. Currently, there are a total of 126 cultivators. According to the genealogical order of Zhuxiantu Qingguang, Niangxian Sijin, Zhishu Mingzi Xinghai, the new generation of cultivators has continued to the C generation, and the youngest is the 3-year-old Chen Sijin. Then, there are the newly added Foundation Building and Purple Mansion cultivators. 2 new Foundation Building cultivators have been added, namely Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingyun. 2 years ago, they exchanged the family's foundation building pills and successfully built their foundations. When Chen Dailin said this, everyone's eyes fell on Chen Qingyun and Chen Qingyun, which made them smile. Chen Dailin did not keep the secret and continued, as for the newly added Purple Mansion cultivators, you should have guessed it, clan leader, they are Qingfeng and Qingyan. Before the opening of the seclusion Immortal Mansion, there were a total of 5 Purple Mansion cultivators in the Chen family, namely Chen Qingyun, Chen Xianming, Chen Qingyun, Chen Dailin and Chen Daoran. 4 years ago, when training in the Immortal Mansion, Chen Qingfeng took the lead in opening up the Purple Mansion with demon pills and successfully became the 6th Purple Mansion cultivator of the family. Following him was Chen Qingyun. She also collected demon pills with the help of the family, and finally successfully opened up the Purple Mansion and became the 7th Purple Mansion cultivator of the family. In terms of cultivation, among the 5 Purple Mansion cultivators in the family, Chen Dailin and Chen Daoran broke through the earliest. After 7 or 8 years of hard practice, their cultivation reached the middle stage of the Purple Mansion. In addition, Chen Daoran's attainment and refining has reached the 3rd level extreme, catching up with Chen Qingyun's footsteps. Chen Dailin is the family alchemist. His own alchemy skills have broken through to the 3rd grade upper grade in recent months, and he has made great achievements. It is also worth mentioning that under his guidance, the alchemy apprentice Chen Qinglai is now a 2nd grade lower grade alchemist. Chen Dailin mentioned this point and talked about it. Not only Qinglai has made remarkable progress, but the younger generations have also made great progress in cultivating the 100 arts of immortality. They are all very hard-working. Take the beast control. Dao Hai is self-taught, and now he is a 1st grade upper grade beast control master. He is very talented and worth celebrating. In the formation, Qingling and Qingqing have also made great progress. Qingling, Qingqing granddaughter, tell me what grade you are in the formation now. Chen Dailin laughed. Upon hearing this, Chen Qinqing stood up and smiled. I am a 2nd level lower grade. Following him, Chen Qingling also stood up and responded, I am a 2nd level middle grade. Not bad, not bad. Chen Xianming nodded with satisfaction and motioned for his 2 great granddaughters to sit down. It was a happy thing for the family to have so many outstanding descendants. He was also comfortable as the patriarch, and a sense of pride emerged in his heart. Chen Dailin continued, as for the art of talisman making, the family has long focused on cultivating talents in this area. I remember clearly that at that time, we still benefited from Qingyun and obtained the talisman classics, which supplemented the family's shortcomings in this area, and this made the art of talisman making improve. Even later, Nianwei worshipped Liu Zilin of Lingbao Mountain as his teacher and studied talisman making in depth. This was also a favor from Qingyun. We always remember this and should be grateful. The scene of Chen Qingfeng, Chen Daohai, and Chen Qingzi joining forces to deal with the evil cultivators of Giant Island on Zhenhai Island seems to be vivid in our minds. From that time on, the Chen family began to cultivate talents in talisman making, all of whom started from self-study. Later, Chen Nianwei volunteered to assist Chen Nianchang in guarding Tanhong Pavilion in Hefang City, and finally became Liu Zilin's apprentice. This apprenticeship process was assisted by Chen Qingyun. Chen Qingyun's contribution to the family has penetrated into all aspects, and the clan members remember it in their hearts and have not forgotten it. Now, the time has come and the harvest has come. Chen Nianlong's attainment in talisman making has reached the upper level of the 2nd level. Chen Nianwei,
on the other hand, has reached the second level and is still helping run the Tanhong Pavilion and has not returned to the family for the time being. Such success makes Chen Qingyun feel very happy, and his support for the younger generations of the family has finally been in vain. After talking about the situation of the family monks, the next step is the resource industry. The elixir garden, hematite, weapon refining workshop, white stone veins, water and fire robes, spiritual scallops, etc. These are narrated by Chen Daoran. Among several major industries, Chen Daoran highlighted the weapon refining workshop and the white stone vein. Because these two industries are currently the family's largest source of income, the combined annual income can reach about 1.5 million spiritual stones. In the past 6 years, the total income from the family's major industries has reached more than 11 million spirit stones, which is enough to fill the family treasury. We are still planning recently on when to expand the clan library. The resources in the clan library are now so large that we can hardly put them down. Chen Daoran smiled and said that the trade cooperation with Lingbo Shan was very stable, and no one dared to interfere with it and offend the Chen family and Lingbo Shan at the same time. This made the Beishi mine a cash cow, providing a long-term and stable source of considerable income and becoming the pillar industry of the Chen family. Chapter 599 Golden Elixir Feast. Make up for regrets. The Yang family of Hongshan Island also reaped the benefits. In the past 2 years, the second foundation building cultivator Yang Zixing has been born, and the family population has grown rapidly. The entire family industry link was reported for more than an hour, and the specific amount of profit was recorded in the account book for Chen Xianming to check. After the family industry resources were reported, the salary began to be paid, which was also one of the purposes of this clan meeting. According to the clan rules, after the salaries of Chen Qingfeng and others were issued, it was Chen Xianming and Chen Qingyun's turn. According to the previous rules, the annual salary of the family's qi refining cultivators is 1,000, the foundation building cultivator is 5,000, and the purple mansion cultivator is 10,000. Among them, Qingyun has made great contributions to the family, and the special case is 100,000 a year. The salary for these 6 years will be paid now. Chen Daoran took out 2 storage bags and gave them to Chen Xianming and Chen Qingyun in front of everyone. With 600,000 spirit stones in the account, Chen Qingyun also had some funds for the subsequent purchase of damaged magic tools. Chen Xianming's 60,000 made the old patriarch very happy. The family also needs to know about the development of the psychedelic island and Yuanzhu Island. Mainly Yuanzhu Island, which is currently occupied by Chen Qingfeng and continues to recruit independent cultivators, and has made great progress. The number of caves in Yuanzhu Island has now reached 330. And the number of independent cultivators has reached 302, including 3 foundation building cultivators. Among them, Wei Minyuan is a newly promoted foundation building cultivator. He succeeded in building a foundation without relying on foundation building pills, which is quite courageous. The family currently has 5 guest elders, Yan Wancheng, Wei Minyuan, Lu Qinying, and 2 new foundation building cultivators Hong Haze and Li Chengyai. It is worth mentioning Yan Wancheng here. Since the spiritual veins of Yanjia Island were polluted, Yan Wancheng has temporarily joined the Chen family with Yan Jian and Yan Jianiu, serving as a guest elder. In order to purify the family's cold pond spirit vein, the Chen family had advanced 10 years of salary. After more than 20 years of restoration and purification, the cold pond spirit vein has been freed of the foul air and purified successfully. For so long, the more than 300 Yan family mortals who have been relying on the Chen family for survival and migrated to Lingsai County have long lived in harmony with the Chen family mortals and exchanged blood. Most of them are unwilling to leave this new home. Enjoying the salary bonus brought by the Chen family, 600 spirit stones a year, Yan Wancheng doesn't want to leave. Simply stay on the psychedelic island, earn spirit stones to prepare for the purchase of foundation building pills, and leave the Chen family after the foundation is built. Not only him, Wei Minyuan, Lu Qinyun and others all think so, as long as the Chen family does not drive them away. They will not leave. After all, when needed, being summoned by the Chen family to do something is also a normal thing and can be accepted. In the eyes of the Chen family, with this recruitment policy, many things can be directly arranged for guest elders to execute. For example, guarding the island, clearing monsters and bandits, guarding the spiritual fields, etc., can free up manpower for the family. After understanding the development of the family, the clan meeting lasted for a day. Finally, Chen Dalan suggested that a banquet could be held in the near future. Patriarch, you and Qingyun Jiandan Avenue have achieved success. Such a happy event. Why not hold a banquet to celebrate and show the outside world that our Chen family has risen, but there are Jiandan cultivators in charge. As soon as Chen Dalan finished speaking, Chen Daoran immediately nodded in agreement. Yes, we need to hold a Jiandan banquet to announce to the inner and outer stars that our family has given birth to 2 Jiandan cultivators. In this way, it can also increase the prestige of our family and expand its influence. Showing strong strength to the outside world, whoever wants to go against the Chen family and deliberately make things difficult, must first weigh their own strength to see if they can be the 2 Jiandan cultivators. Strength is the backing and confidence of diplomacy, which is absolutely true everywhere. Chen Qingyun slapped his thigh and said, "Yeah, I almost overlooked this. Last time a purple mansion cultivator was born in our family, we held a banquet. This time, we have 2 golden core cultivators. We have to have a big banquet." Yes, a big banquet. We have to hold a grand banquet and invite all the families to participate. We have to show off our swords. I agree. I agree too. All the clansmen raised their hands in agreement. Holding a golden core banquet is a good thing. This is an indispensable part. Any family will do this. Looking at the enthusiastic clansmen, Chen Xianming raised his hand to signal everyone to be quiet and nodded seriously. You are thoughtful. This is a good suggestion. Whether in the present or in the future, one of the straight spines of our Chen family cultivators was given by the Jiandan cultivators. This Jiandan banquet must not only be held, but this time it must be held in the family, on Linjian Island. After finalizing this matter, everyone began to discuss the specific date of the event, and finally selected an auspicious day 3 months later. It is worth mentioning that the last Zaifu banquet was held because of limited strength and considering the safety of the family. In the end, out of helplessness, it was chosen to be held in the Zhuxian building in Fengruofang City. Chen Qingyun always remembered that Chen Dohai once said that when the family was promoted to a Jiandan family in the future, they could hold a banquet on Linjian Island openly. The previous vision can finally be realized today to make up for the previous regrets. This time, everyone suggested that the family should hold a banquet on Linjian Island differently from the past and invite all parties to participate. This golden elixir banquet is expected to be very lively and is destined to be recorded in the family history and remembered by future generations. In the next 2 months, Chen Xianming, Chen Qingyun and others will participate in the banquet preparations. Linjian Island will be decorated with lights and colors, and it will be extremely lively. In terms of invitations, Chen Xianming drafted more than 100 invitations to invite all the families in Xingsha Islands and many well-known casual cultivators to participate. Compared with the last Zaifu banquet, only more than 60 invitations were sent out. This time, more people were invited, which also shows the progress of the Chen family and diplomacy over the years. Among them, Liu Zilin from Lingbao Mountain is the key invitation target and is regarded as a VIP. She must not be forgotten to be invited. Although the other 4 major sects did not send out invitations. But after experiencing the experience of the retreat to the Immortal Palace, it is estimated that after Bai Yining and Jizun know about it, Bai Yining will take the initiative to attend the banquet. This is the guess for the time being. In this way, after the news of holding the banquet was released, it has spread in major markets such as Hia and Yishi Island, attracting attention from many parties. Holding a Jiandan banquet, this kind of feast is bound to attract everyone's attention. Because in the Star Sea where Yuanying cultivators do not appear, Giant cultivators have already stood at the top of the pyramid and belong to the ceiling level of cultivators. A cultivator of this level can shake the star sea with a stomp of his feet, and cannot be ignored. Chapter 600. The banquet begins. Goodbye Zhuxiantu. Oh my god, a golden elixir feast. The Chen family of Lingjian Island is amazing. What amazing background does the Chen family have? I heard that they gave birth to 2 golden elixir cultivators. How can it be so outrageous? They are both immortal cultivation families. Why are they so aggressive? Don't guess. Those 2 seniors have been to the secluded Immortal Palace before. Where did you get the chance to form an elixir? Of course, they got it in the Immortal Palace. The cultivators from all over the inner star sea talked about this, and their eyes all fell on the Chen family, paying attention to the actions of any cultivator of the Chen family, and they didn't dare to provoke them at all. After the invitations were sent out, the Zhang family, the Yang family, the Sicha family, etc. were received, and they were all shocked and unbelievable. My goodness, are you kidding? Is it true? It is difficult to give birth to a golden elixir cultivator in normal times for decades. Even if there is one, it almost only appears in the 5 major sects. Now, 2 have emerged from one family. This is unbelievable. But the invitation letter clearly stated that a family could not joke about this matter. That means it is real, it can't be fake. For a time, several major families took it very seriously. Most of the invited families held a family meeting temporarily to discuss this matter, and prepared gifts with full sincerity. Taking this opportunity, you can make friends with the Chen family, and you can't be careless at all. On the psychedelic island, Yan Wancheng almost dropped his jaw when he learned about the recent hotspots of the Chen family. Giant cultivator, this, how come I didn't hear any rumors before? After continuous shock, Yan Wancheng couldn't help but sigh. At an older age, when he was still preparing for foundation building, he had already condensed the golden elixir. This comparison, this sense of gap, is really sighing, and I feel ashamed. On the same day, Yan Jian and Yan Jianyu also heard the news and came to report to Yan Wancheng. Originally, they both had decided after the clan leader successfully built the foundation, they would follow and leave the Chen family, and return to Hantan Island with some Yan family members to spread out and reproduce. Now, this idea was deeply shaken. Are you willing to leave the protection of a giant family? I can't bear it. In order to hold this banquet well and make the family lively, Chen Xianmin called back Chen Nianwei, Chen Nianchang and others. The whole Chen family was looking forward to the convening of this banquet, and the pride in their hearts was almost written on their faces. The family has continued to prosper over the years, and many talents have emerged. As the successor, I am very pleased. As the clan leader, I can finally report to the Taixu Patriarch. Qingyun, I know that you both like quietness. You have been used to practicing on Zhenhai Island for these years and don't like to be disturbed. During this period, the banquet is coming soon. Please stay in the family first. This time is not only a celebration, but also a way to show our family's Purple Mansion talents to the outside world, improve the family's morale, and prevent some cultivators from the outside world from making any small calculations. The family has added a lot of new immortal seedlings in the past few years, and it is just right to set an example and encourage them to practice well. Chen Xianmin said slowly, letting Chen Qingyun stay on Lingjian Island. Zhenhai Island will stop for a while, and the weapon refining workshop and hematite mine should also take a holiday. After staying on the island temporarily, cultivators with the names of Xian and Si often wandered around outside Chen Qingyun's residence. In the eyes of these new generation of family cultivators, there is no doubt that Chen Qingyun is definitely a family legend. They often heard the elders praising him and regarded him as a protective umbrella and a towering tree to lean on. After being influenced by him for a long time, they were full of curiosity about Chen Qingyun, a mysterious existence, and they hardly saw him on weekdays. This time, they had the opportunity, so they would naturally come to see the true face of Mount Lushan and have a few words. These days, Chen Qingyun was very unfamiliar with these family descendants at first. He couldn't call out many of their names and could only know them by who was the son or grandson. In terms of feelings, they were far inferior to Chen Qingyun, Daoran and others. Chen Qingyun simply greeted them and occasionally gave them some advice on their practice. Chen Qingyun's situation was similar. But she was not as popular as Chen Qingyun. Every day, she heard the younger generation shouting fifth grandma. Unknowingly, they had all become the elders of the family and witnessed the rise of the family, from foundation building to golden elixir. Chen Xianming, Chen Daoran, and Chen Dalan were running around outside, visiting various families, scattered cultivators' caves, and sending invitations, and they were very busy. Chen Qingyun, Chen Qingluan, and other Qing generation people began to decorate the banquet venue and buy some ornaments, etc. Chen Qingyun saw that Chen Qingyun was surrounded by a group of younger generations all day long, and was afraid that he would be irritable, so he simply took Chen Qingyun to the Black Cliff Market to buy some fruits, wine and other ingredients. In order to entertain the guests. During this period, Chen Qingyun returned to Zhenhai Island and took away more than a dozen green-tailed spiritual fish as delicacies. In the following days, he went to Yuanzhou Island to transport hundreds of kilograms of spiritual rice. Except for the younger generations of the family, almost all the family cultivators were involved in the preparation of this banquet. Many cultivators outside also came back to help, just in time to get together happily and lively. Soon, more than 3 months later, the day of the banquet arrived. Linjian Island was bustling with people and began to be lively. Many cultivators came to the banquet one after another, and the port of the island was full of large and small ships. The clan protection formation was also temporarily closed on this day to facilitate everyone's entry and exit. In order to maintain order and ensure safety, Chen Qingyun secretly placed the 8 desolations, 9 nethers, and puppet beasts around the welcoming hall. The demon-killing cannons on the island, the patrol ships around the island, the Kailan, etc., were all in place and could be put into battle at any time. On Linjian Island, gongs and drums were loud outside the welcoming hall, and the atmosphere was joyous. The clan leaders of each clan and the famous casual cultivators from all sides came on time and presented gifts to celebrate with enthusiasm. Congratulations, the nobles gave birth to 2 giant ancestors, which really makes me envious. If my Sicha family could have a giant and cultivator, I would wake up with laughter in my dreams. Sichu Fengxing, the head of the Sicha family, smiled and congratulated Chen Xianming, and presented a batch of mirage beads as gifts. Chen Xianming sat in the main seat and smiled to welcome the arrival of friends from all sides. I haven't seen you for more than 10 years. Brother Chen has already achieved the Golden Elixir Road. It's really a cause for celebration. Zhang Danling, the head of the Zhang family, also came in person, accompanied by Zhang Li, Zhang Wenhui and 2 family elders, full of sincerity. These visitors sent congratulations one after another, and there was no fault in the management of human relations, and took the initiative to chat with Chen Xianming. Sitting next to the old patriarch, Chen Qingyun received more attention and became the focus, and was greeted from time to time. Zhang Wenhui had mixed feelings in her heart, and she timidly stepped forward to greet him. King. Brother Qingyun. She showed a sweet smile on her face, which seemed a bit forced, and even doubted herself how to address Chen Qingyun. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.